Have you seen the cost of eggs lately? With these prices, we'd barely be scraping by if it weren't for Dave. It's the banking app that advances us up to $500 instantly. There's no interest, late fees, or credit checks. No joke. You can get extra cash for anything your family needs. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve, member FDIC.
When picking a commerce platform, you have two choices.
Oh, you piece of...
Or,
Yeah!
I prefer, don't you? That's the sound of selling on Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform that supercharges your selling. Online, in person, on social media, and beyond. Why battle inferior platforms' weak tools?
You...
Lack of brand control.
That looks like...
And limited integrations.
Would have helped to know this.
Stop leaving sales on the table. Join the millions of businesses around the world growing on Shopify and get the industry-leading tools from the best converting checkout to powerful order management features. Gain control with code-free site design and harness Shopify's limitless integrations for limitless growth. Shopify.
Less. More.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/play. That's shopify.com/play. Shopify.com/play.
This weekend on ESPN Radio, interleague rivals go head-to-head in Los Angeles.
Grand slam, Jose Altuve.
Jose Altuve and the Houston Astros begin a 10-game road trip against Freddie Freeman and the Dodgers.
Freeman driven well out of here.
The Astros and Dodgers. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on SiriusXM Channel 80.
I never feel like a weight on my shoulders. At the end of the day, I'm just playing basketball. I'm having fun on the court. You know, it's just a game. I got really, really high expectations for myself.
Growing up watching Paul George, kind of modeled my game after his. Definitely one of the players I love to play against. He recently just followed me back on Instagram too, which I feel honored about that one.
Showtime! Scoot Henderson, learn the name.
Debbie had a good personality, a good person, and obviously you see what I can do on the court. Somebody that can dish the ball, somebody that can shoot the ball, somebody that can attack the basket, play defense as well. I think you get an all-around player and an all-around person.
Azar's gonna push it up to a man. Euro!
I feel like the bigger adjustment is going to be not living together rather than not playing on the same team. Because we're both just basketball players at the end of the day. You know, plug us anywhere. I feel like we're both going to be good.
Live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, this is the 2023 NBA Draft on ESPN Radio. Now alongside Seth Greenberg, Corey Alexander, and PJ Carlesimo. Here's Alan Hahn.
And a new generation begins tonight, and a lot of buzz in the building here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York for the 2023 NBA Draft. Not much intrigue to the top of this draft, but a lot of intrigue in what this draft will mean for the future of the NBA, with Victor Wembanyama set to enter the league with the number 1 pick. Gentlemen, this is a night that we have been anticipating with this player for at least 2 years, an international player that we have heard about, and a player, PJ Carlesimo, that we really can't compare to. We love to compare players. I don't know if we can compare him to anything we've seen in the league.
No, his skill set is unique. And again, we've heard so much about him. He just seems so prepared. Talking to all the people in San Antonio this past week or so, they're so impressed with how he handles himself. He doesn't take himself too serious. He knows he's got a lot to learn. It's really impressive. And the skill set is ridiculous. I mean, the size, the athleticism, just talking about the way he shoots the ball and the way he blocks shots alone. And he's a complete package. I'm dying to watch him play. This is the most I've ever looked forward to Summer League. I can guarantee you that.
Hopefully he will be there in Las Vegas. Corey, you were there in San Antonio. You have seen San Antonio do this before. When they win the lottery, they get a center, it seems like. And the first 2 have gone to the Hall of Fame. Will there be 3 for 3?
Well, not only the first to go to Hall of Fame, they've got a combined 7 rings amongst them. So it's not just about the individual, but they've made San Antonio a winning city, and they will go 3 for 3. This guy is, and again, outside of injury, barring injury, he is a can't-miss prospect. As PJ said, we've never seen anything like this. You've never seen anyone with this type of size have this type of skill. He is a perimeter player at 7'5". I'm talking with Rudy Gobert, and you mentioned the fact that we've been planning on this for the last 2 years. They've been planning on it for the last 4. In France, they've been concerned themselves with him being the number 1 pick since he was 15 years old, and here we are today with it all coming in.
Are we redefining a unicorn?
No, we're past unicorn.
Right,
We've seen that before.
I said redefine. To me, PJ, what you said was the most impressive thing is who he is, the way he carries himself, his maturity. He's an 18-year-old with the poise, the presence, the ability to look at the situation and appreciate it and understand it like an adult. And I think that's a testament to the European basketball system and how these young players not only develop as players, but as human beings.
All right, let's get it started here as the Commissioner Adam Silver at the podium.
2023 NBA Draft. To the fans here in Brooklyn and around the world, thank you for being part of such a memorable season. It was a season filled with historic performances and unpredictable competition. We crowned a new all-time scoring leader. We watched a number 8 seed reach the finals for just the second time. And we saw a franchise win its very first NBA title. Congratulations again to the Nuggets and the city of Denver on a remarkable championship season. And whether it's the number 7 pick in Jamal Murray from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada, or a second-round selection in Nikola Jokic from Sombor, Serbia, the Nuggets showed that stars can come from anywhere in the draft, at any pick and from any country. This league is where the very best come to compete in front of a global audience that spans more than 200 countries. And tonight, we usher in the next wave of NBA players, young men who come from different paths and different backgrounds, who are brought together by their common dream of playing in the NBA. So let's get the night started. The first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft belongs to the San Antonio Spurs, who have 5 minutes to make their selection.
5 minutes. Fellas, do we need even 5 seconds?
Corey, what do you think? I hope RC and Pop get this right.
I hope so, too. Their track record hasn't been great, PJ. I hope that strike three's not them out.
Do they have to wait the full 5 minutes to walk out there? Are they holding the card?
I don't know if this is part of the show. Who knows? Just so everybody understands, this is on radio. There's cameras all around Victor Wembanyama's table, waiting for him to stand up. But he has to wait for them to make it official. And we're going to go through that a lot tonight, as there'll be some players introduced wearing hats of a team that they are not really going to play for because trades aren't official. This is not a trade. This is already official, but it's unofficially official. But let's just talk about this as Wembanyama will be taken here. And this is only the second time we've had now a number 1 pick, an MVP, and a finals MVP, all born outside the United States in one season. We are seeing something in the league that is starting to change. The best players in the league are not coming from the United States. The MVPs are coming from all around the country. What does this say about where this game is going, guys?
It says that David Stern's dream is being realized. And I believe we have a pick in
early.
Oh, we didn't need to wait. It was literally 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and the pick is in. And now we have to summon Adam Silver to the podium. But in the meantime, as we were, you want to finish your thought?
Well, when you consider, of course, we have a new commissioner, but our previous commissioner, David Stern, after the 1992 Olympics, where the Dream Team took on the world and conquered the world, basketball changed forever. The NBA became a global brand. And so when you think about Victor Wembanyama in comparison to LeBron James 20 years ago as a number 1 prospect, the difference is LeBron James was a national phenomenon. Victor Wembanyama is a global phenomenon coming into the NBA as a number one pick.
Yeah, look, the NBA, the international impact in the NBA, it's taken over. Where are our MVPs coming from right now? Last 4 years, where are our MVPs come from? They've come from overseas. Now,
right. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic.
But now, like
5 in a row.
5 in a row. Now, here's my question: is how about a second-round draft pick who is now a multiple MVP and a national champion and the best player in the NBA? What does that say about the development and maturity and the process of the international player?
That's what Victor wants to do. I mean, he's grown up. This is where he wanted to be. They've watched the NBA for a long time, obviously in France. Fortunately for him, he ends up in San Antonio after he watches and plays for a team owned by Tony Parker, another team. Boris Diaw is the president of the team. But this is what, it used to be the Spurs had an edge score. Spurs were one of the first teams that went over and recruited internationally and had a lot of success with those players. Now, they recruit. The scouts spend as much time outside the country as they do inside the country.
And PJ, a lot of that comes from the fact that Pop is of Serbian and Croatian descent. So when you think about international basketball, Greg Popovich is a part of international basketball. Of course, he grew up playing in the United States and played at the Air Force Academy, but he is of Serbian and Croatian descent. So he values what happens in Europe from a basketball standpoint.
It started with Domantas Sabonis. It went to Drazen Petrovic.
Arvydas.
Arvydas Sabonis. And then the world opened up in terms of, wait a second, something special.
These guys can play.
These guys can not only play, these guys can help you win.
Exactly, because that's what the NBA is all about.
Now, how soon before Victor Wembanyama can help the Spurs win? Because we haven't been used to seeing the Spurs where they are in the standings, which is normally, they went 2 decades of making the playoffs and winning championships. Is this something that we, how we do it, we microwave everything? Is this going to take time?
It takes time. It doesn't take as long as I believe many people may think, but it also isn't a 40-game improvement like you saw with Tim Duncan, because Tim Duncan walked into a team that was littered with veterans. Victor's going to a team that has a very good young core, so I can see them going from 22 wins or 21 wins to maybe 42 wins, but not 60 like Tim had.
Well, with 20 seconds left before the pick needs to be in, which we know the pick is in, Adam Silver definitely not allowing the moment to be wasted. A lot of drama here. Only just when is he coming out? That's the intrigue.
He's got a delay game going on right now. He's pulled the thing out. He's going right to the end of the shot clock.
Is this delay of game? Is this the first technical of the night?
He went to Duke. I thought he went to Virginia.
Well, we are at all zeros, and we're still waiting for the commissioner to come out and, again, make the announcement that we have known since the lottery was won a month ago that San Antonio would make this pick.
There's 1 ton of silver and black on that stage. It is just from top to bottom. There's Spurs. There's pictures of Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, all the great Spurs. Corey, you got to be up there.
PJ,
I see
not
Corey.
up there. I can't see.
You're up there. Right next to Manu. There's Corey.
I can't see the stage. I hope I'm up there somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
Corey just photobombed himself into the picture.
Absolutely.
It's the truth.
But still, obviously, if you think about the perfect places for a player like this to land, this couldn't be more perfect for all the reasons you said. The connections with Diaw, and the understanding that they have a history there with big men, and Greg Popovich, who's now going into 28th season, has developed big men in the past. Like for the league, for the Spurs, and for Wembanyama, this is a perfect fit.
It absolutely is that, and not only the perfect fit from a basketball standpoint, but a perfect fit from the city. The city of San Antonio will definitely embrace him.
Okay, here comes Adam Silver with the announcement.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama from Nanterre, France.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
A generational talent, the 7'4" Wembanyama can create a shot off the dribble, run the fast break, shoot step-back threes, and uses his 8-foot wingspan as a menace on the defensive end.
A shocker, yes, I know. We've been talking about him for the last 5 minutes. We'll talk about him a little bit more, of course, and get to speak with him shortly. The 19-year-old is 7'4", although recently, guys, he has said he's 7'3". We'll have to measure him when he gets here.
But the eighth,
KD, here's another KD.
the
I'm
eighth,
not 7
right,
foot.
right.
I'm
He's
only
6'12", right? Yeah, exactly. How about this, though? The eighth most viewed player on NBA social media accounts during the past season. And he's not even in the league, and he was top 10. That's how much anticipation and excitement fans have had for this player. And Seth, you mentioned this, right? We did this whole unicorn thing. LeBron James, he said everybody's been a unicorn over the last few years, but he's more like an alien. And I know I said there's no comparison. Can someone come up with some form of comparison for this player?
I can give you one. He's a 7'5" Kevin Durant. That's what he plays like. He plays like KD. He said, you know KD very well, of course. You were the guy who basically said we're going to take him in Seattle way back in the day.
Yep.
So when you look at the way that Kevin Durant plays, this is how Victor plays. And he said he watched Kevin Durant growing up, knowing that he was going to be a taller guy, but he wanted to be a perimeter player. And I believe the reason why it's perfect for San Antonio to have him is because Pop will put him in positions to be successful. He's not going to be a center. He's not going to be a big man. He is going to be a perimeter player his entire career.
Coach, where do you play him?
You play him. I think Pop's going to find out. I honestly, I think with any rookie, you don't know until you start practicing. You put him with the other players. Corey talked about the young guys they got. I mean, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan's a very good player. Keldon Johnson shown he can play in the league. But these guys are young guys. Zach Collins, got to put him out there. Like when he rebounds, are they going to let him bring the ball up the court? They may very well do that. I mean, he did that all the time for his team. But his role is going to be so different. I mean, he just, he had to take shots all the time for the Mets to even be competitive. He leads that league in points and rebounds and steals. I'm waiting to see the shot blocking. That's the thing that intrigues me. I mean, he's a shot blocker like we haven't seen maybe ever, certainly in a long, long time.
He's somebody, Seth, that you could probably say you can put him in the paint and he can still close out on the three in the corner.
Well, I think his greatest impact right from the beginning is the impact defensively. Exactly, because his range defensively, we talk about range offensively. He's got range defensively in terms of not just rim protection, but contesting shots, weak side defense, his ability to recover and take one step, get to the front of the rim. I agree. I think that you don't want to – look, he's not playing in the paint. He's playing on the perimeter. He's using his skill set, which is different. And that's what the NBA is all about right now anyway. I would like to see them get a policeman for him to protect him. I think that's really, really important.
I like that
I love the name PJ just mentioned, though, Zach Collins. Zach Collins is the center. He's the guy that plays the 5. You put Victor at the 4, and now you allow him to be able to roam. He will be an unbelievable help side shot blocker in comparison to being the guy who gets beat up and has to get bodied and trying to block shots from post players. But at the end of the day, it's only 2 guys that post up in the NBA anymore. It's Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. Those are the 2 guys that post up. Outside of that, you don't play post defense anymore.
And a lot of great options for Greg Popovich this coming season. We'll talk with Victor Wembanyama shortly when he comes over here to join us. But right now on the clock at pick number 2, the Charlotte Hornets. And, guys, this is kind of where the draft now starts to get intriguing. And the pick is in with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. And, Michael Jordan sold the majority stake in the team. He's still involved in the franchise. And, in fact, it has been reported that he is still involved in the decision-making of even this pick. Now, there's 2 names on the board, and this has been back and forth. Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, who's it going to be? This is a team with LaMelo Ball. They have young pieces. They haven't been able to get traction yet, but they make the right pick here. They can start to get on their way with Steve Clifford. What do you think?
I think it's a perfect fit for Brandon Miller. I think this whole thing has really been a smokescreen to try to throw everybody else off so that people can't go on with their lives by saying we're going to take Brandon Miller. So that's the only reason they haven't said that.
When you say people, you mean Portland.
Exactly, Portland, and it worked. I think they did entertain possibly bringing Zion Williamson in for that number 2 pick. But at the end of the day, I think Brandon Miller is a perfect fit in Charlotte.
He's a better fit than Scoot for them. Scoot's an excellent player. It's not a debate of which guy's a better player. And this team, they have 5 picks, by the way. Talking to Mitch Kupchak this afternoon, they're fielding all kinds of phone calls from people wanting to trade up, obviously, to get there. What are they going to do with these other picks? Are they going to stash some guys in Europe? Will they just draft some 2-way guys? 5 picks is a lot to manage. So it wasn't just about what they're going to do at number 2.
They've got to monetize or in terms of talent some of those draft picks because they've got to get players that can put in a position to win. I mean, Brandon Miller is a perfect complement to Ball. There's no doubt about it. His shot making, his feel, his ball handling. He's a legit defender. He has a tremendous feel. And I just think that he is a can't miss player. And at number 2, you should get a can't miss player. But he is built for this because of his skill set. And it'll be interesting. The players that they surround those guys with, I think that's the key.
And they got a can't-miss player in LaMelo Ball. He was the number 3 pick. He turned into Rookie of the Year, and he became an All-Star in his second year. But the ankle fracture last year cost him pretty much almost the whole season. 36 games was all he played. He's a talent, no question about it. Young talent, you add those pieces, you could see what they can do in the East. But this is one of those things that with Ball, you have to think of, well, what's that? As you guys said, the right fit with Ball is, I think, how this pick has to go. And as we mentioned earlier, this pick now sets up what happens in Portland. And then what happens in Portland starts a whole other conversation about what they do going forward. And then we start getting into the Damian Lillard of it all. But with Charlotte Hornets, it's got to be about them getting healthy, number one, and then making the right pick here. Because the East, for them, is going to be a challenge because they're very young, as Adam Silver now comes to the podium.
With the second pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Brandon Miller from the University of Alabama.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
At 6'9", Miller brings excellent size on the wing, is a dynamic shot maker, a strong playmaker, and has shown the versatility on the defensive end to guard multiple positions. Miller is an easy fit for any team that drafts him.
And you guys said it, the right fit, the perfect fit. Well, the Charlotte Hornets got it. 20 years old. His college coach, Nate Oates, said, I don't think you can put a position on him. He's a 6'9" basketball player that can do everything. This is, you guys said, the right fit for Charlotte.
It absolutely is. And when you look at the Charlotte roster, you can play Brandon Miller in a number of spots. Remember, you could possibly have Miles Bridges back into your roster this season. So now you're thinking about LaMelo Ball at the point. You can play Brandon Miller as your shooting guard, Miles Bridges and P.J. Washington. That 4 across the board, you've got long talent that can switch defensively, and that's a very good offensive unit. Considering who you throw in there at the center position, can they defend the rim? So Brandon Miller's that good to where he can be your secondary playmaker alongside LaMelo Ball, but also he could end up being their leading scorer early in his career.
That's the new NBA roster.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You're talking about a ball guard in Ball and then floor gamers. 3 floor gamers that are interchangeable defensively and offensively. But this guy is different because of his ability to make shots. He's a volume shot maker.
Also a rebounder. He averaged over 8 rebounds a game. And he's player of the year in the SEC. I mean, he's not a one-dimensional player by any stretch whatsoever.
And PJ, as you mentioned that rebounding, of course, the one thing that everybody wants is not only a guy that can rebound it, but a guy that once he rebounds it can initiate offense. So if you're not waiting to give the basketball to a point guard, and now he can be a facilitator, he can get LaMelo Ball shots. But if you think about Brandon as far as his rebounding ability and pushing the basketball, you can do that with the lineup that we just mentioned, 1 through 4. And so now you're playing very fast, which of course they want to be able to do in Charlotte.
Is that an area where he has to improve? Seth?
No, he's
He
a
can handle
terrific
it?
passer. I mean, he is a terrific passer. Either hand, he can see plays and finish with either. And I do think that takes away from LaMelo Ball a little bit because his ability to advance pass and see plays and basically advance pass into scoring opportunities, I think he's the best, maybe the best in the NBA.
Now, as most people know, Miller's Alabama teammate, Darius Miles, was charged in the fatal shooting of a young woman, Jamea Janae Harris, earlier this year. And Brandon was with Miles that night, and Miles' gun was in Miller's car. Now, he was not charged, and local police testified that he provided truthful accounts of what happened. But clearly this is something that he's had to deal with throughout the draft process, and it is something that probably he is going to have to continue to deal with, and was something, Seth, that he had to deal with during the season as well.
Yeah, look, it's a tragic situation. I called the game, his first game after that situation became public, a game at South Carolina. And it was a very tough environment to come into. He didn't even come out for warm-ups. And yet when the ball went up, and I think this was his ability to block everything out and stay in that moment. He had 41 points in that game. And that game went into overtime, and he was a dominant player throughout the course of that game. And it said a lot for his ability to compartmentalize after a tragic situation that, he was not part of, but in a way he was involved in.
All right, so as the Charlotte Hornets now make him the number 2 pick in the draft, on the clock, the Portland Trail Blazers. There's still a little over 2 minutes to go before their pick. And as it is right there, the pick is in.
Is that all right?
We'll wait for it to be official. But the Trailblazers, their highest pick position at number 3 since they took Greg Oden at the number 1 pick in 2007. And, of course, PJ, you remember that draft.
Well, they're on the other end of it this time. That time we were sitting in Seattle waiting to see whoever, Portland took. If they took Greg Oden, we were going to get Kevin Durant or vice versa. And obviously it worked out very well for the Supersonics and eventually the Thunder. But this is the opposite. They had to wait and see what Charlotte was going to do. And then also, though, Joe Cronin, their general manager, has been fielding offers. There's no question there's been a lot of phone calls. There's a lot of speculation. Corey addressed that. In our pre-show, that is Damian Lillard going to stay there? How much interest did they get? People wanting to move up, and we're not going to know. These trades can't really be consummated until July the 6th. We'll read about it if Woj covers it. The players are going to know themselves. They're on social media. They're going to know by the time they get over there. But we do have that possibility starting right here all night where we're going to get guys wearing the wrong hat, unfortunately.
Yeah, it happens all the time. But, Scoot Henderson is the name from G League Ignite, and that has been a name we've also heard about. And he and Wembanyama had a famous matchup, of course, earlier this season. And he is somebody that I wonder, Corey, is he physically the most ready to play? Because he looks like a specimen.
He absolutely is, and he reminds you a lot of his head coach, Chauncey Billups, who was a teammate of mine with the Denver Nuggets back in the day. So that's one of the things about Scoot that I know that Portland likes, and I know that Chauncey likes a whole lot.
All right, well, the commissioner's coming to the podium. We're going to get the pick for number 3 with the Portland Trailblazers.
With the 3rd pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Portland Trailblazers select Scoot Henderson from Marietta, Georgia, in the NBA G League's Team Ignite.
Scoot Henderson, no surprise there, but now to see what Portland does going forward here with the pick or, of course, with the future of Damian Lillard. Meanwhile, the future of Brandon Miller has been decided. He will be with the Charlotte Hornets, and he joins us right now. Brandon, first and foremost, of course, congratulations. I'm sure a special night for you. Just what emotions are you feeling right now?
I try to hold in all the emotions. I kind of let my parents do all the crying and boo-hooing. I'm just the guy, just giving all the hugs and love, just keeping everybody positive. I think, like my dad said, once Charlotte, what kind of person I am, I know it's going to be great.
What kind of player is Charlotte getting? How do you define your game?
I could just say I'm a winner, man. I just love to win ball games. I think with me, Melo, and Mark, and all the guys, I think it's going to be a great year for us and a lot of experience.
B. Millie, first off, congratulations to you, my guy.
My God, thank you.
All right, so here's the thing. 2 years ago, me, you, your mom, Yolanda, we sit down at BBE. Shout out to BBE, Brad, Bill, Tim Holloway, your whole crew. We sit down, we have a talk with all the young players out there waiting to be the next Brandon Miller. 2 years removed from that, what do you have to tell them differently today than what you were able to tell them 2 years ago?
I think right now, like I say, it's just your work ethic, man. If you want to accomplish your dreams, I feel like all the work that you put in will just, all fall into play. I think that's what I kind of did. I've been working my whole life just for this moment.
Brandon, what went into your decision when you decided to go to Alabama? You probably thought, hey, I'm only going to be there 1 year. Why was Alabama the right school for you to put you where you are right now?
Well, like I've said before, the bonds. I believe in the bonds and the trust. Me and Oates kind of got connected real early from Coach Hassan. I think Hassan did a great job with his recruiting. And then ever since I got there, it just kind of got stronger ever since then. And I knew I was going to be put in the right places just from, the bond me and Oates had. knowing they run a pro offense, so it just all kind of filled into play.
And Brandon, of course, you went through an incident this year at Alabama. How much of that was talked about in your interview process? I know that, of course, everybody wanted to get a chance to sit down and talk to you. How much of that went into your interview process coming into the draft?
It definitely went in there in all interviews, but, once teams get to find out, my character and who I am, I think they kind of, believed in me and who I am.
Brandon, enjoy the night.
Thank
Congratulations. We'll see you in Charlotte.
Thank you.
All right, Brandon Miller again, the number 2 pick in the draft. Scoot Henderson taken after him at number 3 with the Portland Trailblazers. And at number 1, Victor Wembanyama going to the San Antonio Spurs. On the clock right now, we have the Houston Rockets. Still 3 minutes to go there. And as I said, things do get interesting now after pick number 3.
Yeah, Houston with a pair of first-round picks. They pick it number 4 right here. I also pick it number 20. So, it's interesting when you look at some of these teams. They start jockeying for position. You figure, hey, there's somebody else we like. Do we have to take him right now, or will somebody still be there for us at 20? So many things go into the pick, not just who's the best available. Everybody says, you got to take the best available. Not always necessarily the
best
case.
Fit, right? Best for you.
PJ, what about, you've been in this situation. You've got a young, talented team. Do you look and say, do we basically balance between who's available and who I can get that can help these young, talented guys I have in my locker room take that next step? Or is Houston still in the position of just having to acquire talent?
Well,
young team.
You know what you get, Seth? Sometimes you get the dynamic that's unfortunately in play oftentimes in the NBA. The coach wants to get somebody that fits right now and can help you win games right away. The general manager and ownership sometimes is looking big picture, and you have a conflict. I mean, when we're in college, you are the coach and you're the GM. You go pick the guys you want. They come to play for you, and you're totally in control. You are not in control when you're a coach in most situations. Now, you've got a Greg Popovich occasionally, maybe Monty Williams right now in Detroit. But the coach has input, but he doesn't have final decisions, and sometimes that conflict can really be a challenge.
And think about who that coach is now in Houston. Ime Udoka coming in, and of course with the success that he had in Boston 2 seasons ago, he's got a lot more leeway after things didn't go the right way for Houston over the past couple seasons.
He's got a lot more dollars too.
Well, but also
not as much as Monty Williams.
No, and they have knowledge, whether they know for certain or not. Is James Harden going to be there, or is James Harden not going to be there? That certainly impacts who you're going to take.
And Jaylen Brown possibly moving down that direction
down the
also,
road.
down the road.
And how much does that affect, though, what they're doing here in this draft, right? Like, how much do you think about it? This was such a young team after Harden left, after they kind of had to break up what they tried to do. They went for it for a couple of years there with James Harden as the centerpiece. It didn't work. And then so from there, they went young. They've had very high draft picks, a 2-pick, a 3-pick, now a 4-pick. That they have. I mean, as you mentioned, you got to get some vets on a team sometimes, and you got to help these young players grow. You have Ime Udoka.
The right vets, right?
Well, and that's the other thing. So it's not just about, say, a lot of fans look at the draft and they think it's always about just draft a whole bunch of young guys and let them grow together. There's more to it than just that.
There's no question. And again, you're not going to get that veteran tonight. Tonight is about the young guys that play. And we've got one sitting down here that's a pretty special young man.
He's got his headset is on. Okay, Scoot Henderson joins us right now, the number 3 pick in the draft, Portland Trailblazers. You look pretty happy about this. You happy about the destination, or just happy that I'm in? It's done.
No, I'm happy about both, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm blessed to go that high. And I already been to Portland, and I know the city right now, so I'm just blessed to get back to the fans.
Scoot, first and foremost, congratulations. We spent a lot of time together this year, my guy. I'm happy for you. And I know that Portland is happy to have you in the fold. Now, one of the things you've heard all about the trade rumors, you've heard about everything going on, and there's a lot of interest in you and the other 29 teams. How do you prepare yourself for that, knowing that, of course, right now you're a Portland Trailblazer, but in this business of the NBA, you could find yourself somewhere else very soon?
Honestly, I just continue to work. I just put my head down and work and control what I can. And that's how hard I work, and that's me every day getting better with my body and my mind. So that's how I'm going about it.
If Damian Lillard's listening to this show right now, knowing that you just got drafted, What are you going to tell him that can say, you know what, we're going to be the best backcourt in the NBA?
Oh, shoot, I'm coming, Dave. I'm coming, bro. And I'm gonna try my best to try to impact immediately on both ends of the floor. So,
pardon me a second, Scoot. We have the commissioner at the podium for
With
the
the
number 4
fourth
pick.
pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Houston Rockets select Amen Thompson from Oakland, California, an overtime elite.
All right, Amen Thompson, one of the Thompson twins. Expected both of them to be picked.
Scoot, tell our listeners, I mean, we're involved with the NBA, we know. What has it been like for you playing for the NBA Ignite? You guys moved to Nevada this year.
Yes,
You
sir.
played for Jay Hart. How did that help prepare you and get you where you are right now?
like you said, man, I think I'm the most prepared player in this draft, anyways. But man, it prepared me a whole bunch of just being able to learn how to be a pro off the floor as well. You know, so that whole process was great. You know, everybody from the Ignite family is we're all tied in now. So I appreciate everything they've done for me from here on out.
How about the competition in the G League, the guys you went against
Yeah,
all
it's
year?
always every single game is high competition. You know, it's high level guys coming from the original team to come down just to play us. You know what I'm saying? So it's always guys that going up and down in the league and the G League that's ready to play us, ready to kill us, take our heads off, ready to lock us up. You know, we're playing against grown men every single night, in and out. So it's great competition always.
Alan, PJ, and Seth, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, but Scoot's parents own a gym. He's your type of guy.
Yep.
You got to kick him out of the gym. You got to drag him out. He stays in there.
Get lost in the game, man. Get lost in the game. The best
real.
players, they live
Exactly.
in the gym, man. Happiest place in the world.
That's the best thing. Now, before we let you go, can you just settle one thing? Because I've seen various reports. Your nickname, Scoot.
Yeah.
Apparently, your brothers and sisters said it was when you were a toddler and you'd scoot across the floor, but your parents are saying, no, we just made up the name. Settle it once and for all.
Okay,
what is it about?
Floor, I'm going to go with scooting on the floor. I'm going to go with scooting on the floor.
Well, do plenty
Good
of that
answer.
around the NBA.
Yeah, for sure.
Congratulations. Thank you so
you.
much for
Appreciate
joining
it.
us.
Enjoy it, Scoot.
Scoot Henderson. Now he is with the Portland Trailblazers, and the one thing they've got there, they've got some guard talent. They've got some guard talent in Portland.
They absolutely do.
And now what do they do with that guard talent?
Well, you also consider, and again, when you talk trades, it doesn't necessarily have to be Scoot. Anthony Simons is a valuable trading piece. Shaden Sharp, very valuable. You got two young players there that also could be on the move to keep Scoot in the backcourt with Dame. So a lot of decisions have to be made from the Portland Trailblazers standpoint.
Yeah, that team, I think, more than almost anybody, maybe Atlanta a little bit later on. It's, Scoot is so excited to be there, and hopefully he does end up. I mean, I was lucky enough to coach in Portland for 3 years. It's a great city, but that uncertainty between now and July 6th, hopefully they'll give him some insight, and he'll have a better feel for where he will actually be.
PJ, I meant to ask you, would there be more teams that you actually didn't coach for in the NBA than there are the ones that you did?
Close. I'm right on the edge. If I can double count like Seattle / OKC.
Hey, it counts. That's two different cities.
I was going to mention that. He's coached so long in the league, there's cities that don't have a team anymore.
Right.
Hey,
How
there's
was it
only
in
guy
St.
that
Louis?
he's trailing is Larry Brown.
And LB's back in.
And he's back in coaching.
But all right, let's get the consensus then. And this will be a discussion throughout the night. We'll monitor whatever might happen in anything that Woj and others might be reporting. What should Portland do, though? What should Portland do?
Portland should make a trade or make trades to bring in veterans to help Dame. I'm not saying that it needs to be Scoot. They have many tradable assets, but they need to make trades to help Dame win and keep Dame in Portland.
All right, well, we'll
Can
keep
they
an eye
make
on
good
that.
enough trades?
We'll get back to this conversation, but
Yeah, this is much better.
as promised, the number one pick in the draft, Victor Wembanyama, joining us right now, headed to San Antonio. I imagine there wasn't a lot of curiosity about where you were going, but do you just feel a relief that this process, this part of this whole thing is now over with, and you can just go forward now as a Spur officially and focus on your NBA career?
Yeah, it wasn't much of suspense, but still, the emotion is there, after I was called in front of everyone, that music before he says my name and stuff, that was so special. I'm loving the moment.
You should love the moment. You got somebody who played in San Antonio for a number of years, and I was lucky enough to coach there for 5 years when TP first got started. Go back a month ago when it was announced, and you found out that night. your parents have done a great job raising you, and you've done an unbelievable job. You always say the right thing, but really, was San Antonio the one you were hoping for all along?
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
Did you watch Tony growing up, or how far back do you go watching the Spurs?
Growing up, of course I watched Tony, yeah. With the Spurs and with the national team too. Yeah, I mean every French basketball player around my age, he's watched Tony growing up.
Well, Victor, as Greg Popovich's first ever draft pick, I want to welcome you to the San Antonio Spurs family, first and foremost.
Thanks, man.
But I had an opportunity to call your game October the 4th when your first game on U.S. mainland.
Okay.
And you played great in that game. But you were more satisfied with your second game where you won. You made it very clear you're all about winning. How soon can you win in San Antonio?
Unfortunately, I think I'm not experienced enough to be able to answer this question, but this is going to be my goal in the first year. Learn as much as possible because the ring, it's always what I'm going to be winning. So as soon as possible.
PJ, you've been in this league a really long time. I don't think I've ever listened to a more mature player at your age walk into this spotlight and handle it in the manner in which you have. Who do you credit for that?
Who do I give credit to? Myself first. But my parents, they had the biggest role in that because they let me free. They never imposed nothing to me. Earlier I was telling my mom jokingly, I don't like basketball. I don't feel like I like basketball no more. I want to stop. But I was just joking, and she was like, "Yeah, I know it's a joke, but if you really want it, then do it." They never forced me to do anything, and this is how I could really develop into the person I am truly.
You really love the game. That's what matters most. Every player, and you've probably been asked this a million times, but every player has someone that, whether you were younger or at some point, you looked at and said, I want to play like him. Is there a player that you try to emulate? Is it multiple players? Because your game and your size is so unique.
Yeah, multiple players. Yeah, my game, it's kind of the same as with my parents. They let me free develop my personality. But my coaches, they were good coaches too, and they let me develop my game too. So my game resembles a mix of a lot of players. So I never had one role model, but I looked up to many players, many great players, and got inspired from them. Yeah.
Look pretty good in that silver and black. Good luck.
Congratulations, Victor. Thank you for joining us. One thing I noticed, he didn't name any players, though.
Well, and
he said multiple players, but I'm trying to figure out. You said Kevin Durant.
He plays a similar style to Kevin Durant with being a perimeter guy who can really, really shoot the basketball. He can handle the basketball but with size. Again,
the defensive instincts, though, or something
but
else.
Kevin Durant is actually a very, very good shot blocker. That's one of the things that's the most underrated part of his game. Now, of course, he's not a shot blocker like Victor is, like Victor will become. But when you think about it, when Kevin Durant came into the NBA, we hadn't seen anyone at 6'11" that handled the basketball, that shot the basketball the way that he did. And so Victor coming in at 6 inches taller, we have never seen anyone this size with this type of skill. You go back and you look at, there are a bunch of guys that were 7 feet and can shoot it. There are a lot of those guys in the game right now, but they don't block shots the way that he does.
Yeah.
They don't handle the basketball the way they're not fluid perimeter players like he is. And again, I think that's really the fact that he can do all of these things is what makes him so different.
Now, let me just catch everybody up, because while we had Victor, we had another pick made, the Detroit Pistons, and they took Asar Thompson. So you have Amen Thompson and Asar Thompson, the Thompson twins, who make all kinds of 80s music references throughout the night because of that. Anybody that knows what I'm talking about, you're in my age bracket. But, yes, that pick was made as well. So now we're 5 picks in with the Orlando Magic on the clock. Didn't mean to cut everybody off. Just wanted to get
So, Alan, we're 5 picks in, and we've seen players come from 4 different routes to get to the NBA.
It's a great point.
You've got Victor Wembanyama, who comes from Europe. You've got Brandon Miller, who played college basketball, Scoot Henderson, G League Ignite, and then Amen and Asar Thompson, both coming from Overtime Elite. So the NBA game, we talked about it being global now, And there are multiple ways to get to the NBA. It's not the same traditional way, go to college, play college basketball, and get drafted, that we all grew up watching.
That's a great point and a great observation to make. And another one is, has the NBA ever had twins taken back-to-back? We've had twins in the league. Obviously, the Lopez brothers,
twins,
but
yeah,
we have
not
had
back-to-back
in a draft. How about that for the family? Just think about that moment for the family. Yeah, my kids went 4 and 5 in the NBA draft.
Well, here's the problem. When they're on stage with a man being interviewed, do the parents even see Asar get drafted? Because they're doing their interview, they're doing their TV interview at the time, and their other son is getting drafted. Or does mom go with one and dad stay back with the other? See, we got to think about these
Well, to get
things.
that answer, we should ask, of course, the Morris family, because Markieff and Marcus were taken 13th and 14th.
There we go.
In 2011. And so it's the first, though, time that brothers were drafted in the top 5 at the same draft since the 76 merger. So there is that history of it. I didn't even think of the Morris brothers, actually, the Morris twins in that, but that was a little bit later on. But still, quite a night.
They're still going strong. You said Orlando's on the clock.
Yes.
Orlando, interestingly enough, they have the number 6 pick right now, but they also have the number 11 pick. They got 2 lottery picks
That'll
right
be
now.
5, right in
to
that
deal
5
with.
lottery picks in the last 3 drafts. Starting to build something special there in Orlando. Here comes Adam Silver.
Pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Anthony Black from the University of Arkansas.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
At 6'7", Black is a big point guard with a versatile skill set. He's a selfless playmaker with outstanding court vision, can excel at changing speeds and reading the game. Black is a multi-positional defender with great instincts.
All right, so you took Banchero last year at number 1, and all he did was turn into the Rookie of the Year. Now Anthony Black. Tell me about the fit here.
Well, when you look at the fit, you have to consider that this is the third year in the last 4 years that they've taken a point guard. You go back 4 years ago, they took Cole Anthony. Then you take Jalen Suggs, and here you are now taking Anthony Black. And by the way, the 1 year that you didn't take a point guard, you took a point forward in Paolo Banchero, who plays with the basketball in his hands a lot. So when you're thinking about the Orlando Magic, of course, they're taking who they feel is the best player available at that time. But I'm not sure if it all fits very well together unless they've got some trades up their sleeve and some of those guys that maybe won't be on their roster moving forward.
They're moving someone. I mean, like, just in terms of roster management, they're moving someone. You know, who it is it, could it be, I don't think it's going to be Anthony Black. My gut feeling it's going to be Suggs.
They were a team, remember, they started 5-20, and they finished the season over 500 from that 5-20 start. Very intriguing team that by the end of the year were not an easy team to play against. And obviously Banchero was fantastic. So could they be that kind of next team in the East to keep an eye on to see if they can take that step? And if they are, they obviously have to get a little bit older on that roster.
Well, I think that's one of the things also that you have by really just stacking pieces and guys who have been successful and had great stretches early in their careers. You're able to go out and get those missing pieces that you had to complete that roster. Right now, I believe they're guard heavy. We hadn't mentioned the fact that they've got the number 1 pick, Markelle Fultz, on their roster also playing in the backcourt.
That's right.
So they're guard heavy. And as Seth mentioned, somebody's got to go. And because at the end of the day, you don't want to pay all these guys a second contract. And when you can use some of them as basic bargaining chips to go out and get veterans to help bolster that
Don't
roster.
you think they need a scorer? I mean, their front court with Carter and Wagner and Banchero, don't you think they need a perimeter wing type
Shooter,
of scorer,
right?
shot maker?
No.
It probably tells you, who they drafted. Probably does tell you just that. There may be a move in the works. And, it's intriguing to me. I'm looking up the green room that's right in front of us now. There are so many coaches in the green room who have 2 players here tonight. We got a couple of Arkansas guys.
Yep.
We have a couple of Alabama. We obviously had
Michigan.
the Twins, a couple of Michigan players. It's amazing that a lot of the coaches or agents that are in there, and then of course you got the French connection. There's 3 or 4 Frenchmen. It's almost like there's nobody that's just I'm looking at Jaime Jaquez. He's the lone player from UCLA. I don't think he's affiliated with any other group.
But Amari Bailey is in the building, so he's not the only one.
Yeah.
The Indiana Pacers are on the clock now at pick number 7 as we are rolling right along here at the NBA draft here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Victor Wembanyama went number 1. Brandon Miller at number 2. Wembanyama, of course, number 1 to the Spurs. Miller, number 2 to the Hornets. Scoot Henderson at 3 to the Portland Trailblazers. And get the alerts right now on Woj's Twitter feed and see what's going to happen in Portland. And then the Thompson twins, Amen Thompson goes to the Rockets at 4. And Ausar Thompson goes to the Pistons at number 5. And then you have Anthony Black going to the Orlando Magic at number 6. And so we're getting set up now where the rest of this draft feels like a lot of 6'7" guys who can do a lot of things.
A
lot of wings.
Seth mentioned earlier, that's the NBA way now. You get guys, it's almost like back in the day when college football coaches would go out and recruit guys, and when you get them in there running back in high school, and you go out and recruit them, and when they come in and sit down in the office next, you say, hey, you're going to be a defensive back. You're going to do this. That's basically what it seems as though NBA teams are doing now.
And we have
the Indiana Pacers select Bilal Koulibaly from Cote d'Ivoire, France.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
Koulibaly has a 7'2" wingspan, is a springy, bouncy athlete with great open court speed and above-the-rim ability. On the offensive end, Koulibaly is a slasher, cutter, and instinctive scorer, a versatile and disruptive defender who uses his elite athletic tools and length to pester ball handlers and disrupt passing lanes.
A bit of a surprise here, Koulibaly, who also played for the Mets in France with Wembanyama. There was some talk that the Spurs were trying to figure out a way that they could get into the first round again and see if they can bring him in because he and Wembanyama are friends. An 18-year-old turns 19 in July, but he's a shooter.
He's a playmaker also. And when you think about, of course, everything that Victor Wembanyama did with Mets 92 over in France, he had a running mate with him who you can see was extremely talented enough to be the 7th pick in the draft.
He's a playmaker defensively. I mean, he's a guy that can get in passing lanes, knock balls away, multi-positional defender. Another 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", kind of guy that's going to grow into an NBA player. But let me ask, PJ, again, I'll go to you because you live in this room. That could move.
We're joined right now by Amen Thompson, who was taken by the Houston Rockets at number 4. And I'll just let you know, Amen, this happened to me when Markieff and Marcus Morris were drafted. They sat together, and I had no idea who was who. And they wouldn't tell me.
Yeah.
So thankfully you're here. Your brother is not here yet, but still. We were talking about.
Are you sure?
That's right.
I'm actually a sorry.
How often have you guys pulled that off?
Only like one time. We were talking about doing it today, but it's too big of a moment.
Too serious, yeah.
Too serious.
But just they'll talk about the basketball stuff. But I want to ask you, just family-wise, just think about what you guys have been through and the fact that you went one after the other in the top 5 in the NBA draft. The journey that the two of you have been on together, winning championships in high school and also with overtime. Well, how did the moment you two had together after his name was called? What was that like?
It was just like acknowledgement, like we're here. You know, this is the start of our dream.
Man, one thing for you, I got a couple of questions. Let's start with the fact that, congratulations, you're the first overtime elite player to be drafted. An opportunity for you to come into the NBA. You should be applauded for that because you took a chance at a time where it was a very new league. Tell us a little bit just about that process.
You mean about like getting to OTE or just being here? Just
getting to OTE.
Getting to OTE, I had to make a decision for my future. I couldn't go back to my high school. We had already showed what we could do there, and I wanted to be a pro the fastest. I wanted to be the best. And I felt like development, OTE could get me there.
And secondly, for you, Houston Rockets, of course, need a point guard. Are you that point guard? And lastly, on my end, do you hold it against your brother that you were one pick ahead of him? Do you make sure that you remind him of that all the time?
No, I think I am that point guard. And, I'm going to joke around. He knows he didn't care. If he went first, it was all good. If I went first, it was all good. So,
But being as you are a point guard, does that make Houston a better fit for you?
Excuse me?
Does Houston become a better fit for you because you feel you are that point guard?
Yeah, I think. You mean between me and Ausar?
Yes.
I think Ausar would have been a great fit too. Ausar could do everything. Ausar could play point guard too. But I think I was, they picked me, and I'm happy to be a Rocket.
Abed, what are the things you need to work on? You know, oftentimes young guys as talented as you have gotten by on that. And I looking at your stats, the two numbers that jump out at me, you need to become a better three-point shooter. You need to become a better free throw shooter. Is that something that you can work on and you're confident it will become a strength of yours?
Yes, sir. I work on that all the time, and I know, you know, through development, through time, I could be a great shooter. So that's really what I want to work on.
Houston struggled defensively last year. What impact can you have on the defensive end?
Just think being very switchable, you know, 6'7", 215, I could guard multiple positions, and, you know, just on ball, great defender, great shot blocker for a guard. I think I could do a lot to help.
That's a long way from the TBT last year, I can tell you that much.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, enjoy the night. Congratulations again to you and your family, and good luck. We'll see you in Houston.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
What a great story that is, once again, going back-to-back, you and your brother, after all the work you put in and the anticipation and the building towards it, and to see your names on the board, one after the other in the top 5. And as he mentioned also, guys, overtime elite, OTE, as he referenced it, something that is new, but yet another avenue to the NBA that they chose.
It's amazing. I remember years ago when the Gasol brothers were playing, and we were just sitting there talking about it one, and I'm saying, like, when these guys were growing up, they're playing in the drive, assuming they had a driveway, to play it out in the backyard. Two of them end up being really credible players. These two guys, Amen and Ausar, growing up, when did you guys really believe that you could do this, that you could be drafted and go together to the NBA?
I feel like I believed it since the first day I started playing. Like when I was 9, the first time I saw an NBA game, I was like, man, we're going to do this.
We got to mention, of course, we're talking to Ausar now. We did the switch.
Yeah, the hat gives it away.
We have the opportunity to talk to, of course, Ausar Thompson. Ausar, first, congratulations to you. Your brother was very complimentary of you. He said he wasn't even going to hold it over your head, that he went one pick ahead of you, because he said you could have been the guy going to Houston as well because you can do everything. Tell us about your brother, because he told us a lot about you. What is Houston getting? We know what he's already told us what Detroit's getting with you. What's Houston getting with him?
Probably the best passer in the draft. I've never seen anybody who could pass like him. Most acrobatic finisher that I've seen. And just, you know, someone super athletic to be 6'7", 215. So I don't think you've ever seen an athlete like him unless you're looking at me.
You, right.
Nah,
Something that you have said before is that you're nowhere near where you can be as a player. Where do you see yourself as a player? Let's say 5 years from now, where are you going to be as a player?
I want to be an NBA champion 5 years from now. I got to set the bar high. So if I don't get it, at least I tried, you feel?
That's the team goal.
Yes,
you
sir.
yourself as a player, though.
Myself as a player?
What do you look like 5 years from now?
The best version of me. So all-star games, I don't know. Best version of me.
So when you decided to go OTE, what went into that decision? That was obviously a great decision. It's worked out. But what went into that decision, and how did you enjoy playing OTE?
You know, I just felt like it was the best decision for me. I felt like all the resources it had could help me get to the next level. And I actually really enjoyed playing in it. You know, if I had the chance to do it again, I would. I feel like it helped me develop a lot.
Well, congratulations again, you and your family. This is what a night it is for you and your brother. Go ahead and enjoy it. We'll see you in Detroit.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Again, the Thompson twins going back-to-back in the draft. And while we were discussing things with the Thompsons, Jarris Walker was the pick that was made by the Washington Wizards at number 8. So the draft continues on, and very interesting picks there. And Jarris Walker, of course, from Houston, a 6'8" forward, strong forward, of course, and playmaking skills and whatnot. We'll get a little deeper into that in a few minutes. But right now we have Anthony Black sitting down with us from Arkansas, and he went to the Orlando Magic. And a lot of hair there to get the headset.
Man's got the best hair in basketball right there, and I'm jealous. I got to be honest with you.
I appreciate it.
Seth might need to borrow some of that. Was this something that you felt was coming? Did you see the 6th pick and know, okay, Orlando wants me, I'm going to go here? Did you have an advance notice, or was it a surprise?
I mean, it was a decent surprise. I kind of knew it was in the process of like happening, but I wasn't sure if it was going to happen. So yeah, I mean, once the pick before me happened, I kind of could tell it was going to happen.
Anthony, I had the fortunate pleasure of calling the McDonald's All-American game when you made your decision that you were going to go to Arkansas. And, of course, Muss had the three three burgers out there because he had three Burger Boys. You're the first draft pick of the three possible draft picks here tonight. Well, really more than that. You have more than three. You got four in the mix. But when you think about that, what does that say about you? And, of course, also tell me a little bit quickly about your coach, David Peavy, who's in the building to see you tonight.
I mean, I just came in and really just trusted the process. That's what I was here to do at Arkansas. But, you know, my teammates trusted in me and let me make plays and play through mistakes. So big shout out to my teammates. And also, you know, David, my high school coach, just pushed me. He'll always keep it real with me, and he always tell me what's real. So that makes me better. So I'm thankful for him too.
Your game right now, you know, I was going into the next level. What is your strength? Obviously, we know you have great vision, see over the defense, disruptive defensively. What's the one thing you want to say, I need to do this to take my game to another level and impact winning?
Probably just shoot a lot of shots and get in the weight room. Because, you know, strength and shooting is a lot of big key in the NBA. So that's definitely what we're working on from here until Summer League until the season.
Hey, I want to say one thing. I went to watch you guys practice early in the season last year. This dude was in the gym an hour and a half before practice by himself. There was no one else there. You had one dude rebounding for you. And you were in the gym after practice, but continued working on your game, which to me, when I walked out and I turned to Muss, I said, that dude is lost in the game.
But he was second in the gym that day because Muss probably beat you there, right?
Oh, yeah. Coach probably beat me. He'd be up in his office, but he was definitely in there.
He was looking over the shoulder, I can tell you that much.
100%.
And how much do you know about your future teammates? You got a chance to meet some of them, or you've looked at the roster thinking maybe this is where you were going to end up?
Yeah, I mean, I just know that the team is made up of a lot of great players. It's a young team, talented team with a lot of good scores and talented wings, bigs, and guards. So it'll be fun to just get in there with a group of young dudes who know how to play and who are good players.
What Coach Greenberg talked about, the thing you do, the fact that you defend and you pass the ball so well is really going to help you an awful lot. Coaches love young guys that can come in and can get out on the floor and help the team defensively. So just keep doing what you've been doing your entire career.
Yes, sir. I got you. I'm going to hang my hat on that.
Anthony, thank you so much. Congratulations. Go ahead and enjoy the night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Anthony Black again going number 6 to the Orlando Magic. So we continue here at the NBA draft, rolling right along. The Utah Jazz now on the board. They're on the clock, I should say, at number 9. Their pick should be in shortly. In the meantime, let's just catch you up. Victor Wembanyama went number 1 with the San Antonio Spurs. No surprise there. Brandon Miller from Alabama went number 2 to the Charlotte Hornets. Scoot Henderson from G League Ignite, he went number 3 to the Portland Trailblazers. Amen Thompson from Overtime Elite, he goes 4 to the Rockets. His brother, Ausar Thompson from Overtime Elite as well, to the Detroit Pistons at number 5. We just spoke with Anthony Black from Arkansas. He goes to the Orlando Magic at number 6. Bilal Koulibaly from France. I get it right. He went number 7. A bit of a surprise, a little high, but yet everybody's high on him. The Indiana Pacers. And then Jarris Walker, Houston Rockets at number 8, with the Jazz on the clock at number 9. And Bilal joins us right now. Are you surprised by the pick at number 7? Did you expect to be picked this high?
Man, that's a little bit of surprise right there. That's something I wanted to be the highest possible, and that just came true.
And Bilal, of course, your Mets 92 teammate, Victor Wembanyama, endorsed you. He said you were the guy. You talk about, of course, the Thompson twins, all the other guards in this mix. He said that you were the guy that needed to be drafted higher. And the Indiana Pacers, listen, what type of player do they get when you show up?
They'll get somebody competitive, a two-way player that can play great defense on the kind of other post. So, they just got a great two-way player that can play the pick and roll and everything. So, that's it.
Now, I took a video on my phone of you and Victor before the game in October 4th playing one-on-one.
Yeah.
You two guys were out there before going at it. You've helped him with his ball handling and with his ability to play against perimeter players. Give us 1 second.
2023 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Taylor Hendricks from UCF.
So, Bilal, we get back to that conversation. You've helped Victor with his ball handling and his ability. What has he helped you develop with?
Oh, he helped me to, playing against somebody that tall. So, yeah, in practice, been working a lot with him, one-on-ones, everything. So, yeah, he just helped me on that. He's, the tallest player in this draft, and playing against somebody like that, you can play against everybody after that.
I'll tell you what else he helped you. The exposure you got playing with him made people realize just how great a player you were.
Yeah.
They would not have known that. People knew who you were, but they got a chance to see you so much playing for the Mets and playing for his team.
That's a fact.
It is great. There were 9 Frenchmen in the league last year. We're up to 11 right now, and you got a couple of countrymen still sitting there in the green room. So outside of North America, France has the most players in the NBA. Yeah. Still getting better. I mean, how many young guys coming behind you.
Yeah, I know.
What is basketball like? I know the Olympics coming up.
Yeah, man. We're coming. Yeah, a lot of young guys be playing great in France. Yeah, I saw them play. Man, I'm telling you, we're coming.
I want to follow up because you did admit at the beginning. I always love asking this because you know how the draft goes. You see names start to go and you wonder, where am I going to go? So you were caught a little bit by surprise. I mean, did the Pacers give you any indication? Did you have a clue? Did you meet with them? Like what? Or is this just, okay, I'm going to Indiana?
Yeah, that's just, okay, I'm going to Indiana, man. That's just a surprise. I've never talked to them, nothing. So, yeah, that's a surprise.
Now, that says a lot. It says a lot about what they think of you. Well, congratulations.
Thanks,
go ahead
guys.
and enjoy it.
Thanks.
And we'll see you in Indiana.
Thanks.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks very much for joining us again, Bilal Coulibaly. And I think you nailed it. It's with Wembanyama and all the attention that is on him, Bilal gets the opportunity of more eyes on him, and he gets to be a top 10 pick.
Well, not only that, they couldn't work him out. I mean, in a good sense, it worked out. They were playing right up until the draft. So, I mean, he wasn't able to make as many visits. He wasn't able to do the workouts. But obviously what the scouts saw, and it wasn't like they weren't there. There were a lot of scouts, and they saw a lot of the games. They liked what they saw, and it's gotten him tremendous opportunity.
PJ, have you ever heard of a player that didn't have a meeting or a conversation with a front office member or scout that would go that high in the draft?
Maybe not that high, but sometimes, so many times we've sat here with these guys and looked at them, and they look like, I said, how was your workout there? And he goes, I didn't even visit there. Sometimes that tells you the hat might be the wrong hat.
That's what I was saying. I was hinting that. Exactly. Thank you, PJ.
No, and that could be the case, but one thing for certain, the NBA streamed live all of Mets 92 games on the NBA app throughout this season.
The audience was huge.
And the audience was huge. Yes. So Bilal Coulibaly got a lot of eyes from that alone. And, of course, if there's, everyone is tuned in to watch Victor. But, again, that's the one thing that you see in this game. There's always someone else that kind of jumps off the screen. This guy can do some things.
The jump he made, though, Corey, from a guy that was a second-round pick a month and a half ago probably to a guy that was going to go between 20 and 30 to where he went, and then hearing Victor talk about his impact, how good he was, how he was being under-evaluated, playing with grown men, playing in that environment. It almost sounded like a sales pitch to the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, you don't know. Indiana has 4 picks, 4 or 5. It started with 5. Woj broke the story that it's going to be 4, but they have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. So very easily could be drafting for someone else.
And speaking of Woj, so apparently when Bilal told us that he had no idea the Pacers were interested in him, they're not. There's a trade that is going to happen with that pick where it's just they're flipping picks. So Jarris Walker was taken after him at 8. The Wizards took him. They're going to swap him. So Coulibaly is going to actually end up in Washington with a team that is going through a lot of transition now over the last days, let alone a couple of weeks since Michael Winger took over as president. They've made a ton of moves, including obviously the trade of Bradley Beal, and then they just pulled off
we think Tyus is there.
Tyus Jones
we know somebody's there.
Tyus Jones most likely the starting point guard.
Wizards, right?
Jordan Poole off the ball, which means you need a guy like Bilal Coulibaly. For as great as Jordan Poole is offensively, he's that bad defensively. So you got to have someone that can get out there and defend the other team's guard.
And then again, Porzingis traded to Boston in that big 3-team trade that happened, and then Chris Paul as you mentioned, Jordan Poole, he will be headed to Golden State, which is a big headline as he have a chance to chase a ring. So that's very important. All right, and another pick that was made while we were having a conversation is Taylor Hendricks from UCF. He was taken 9th to the Utah Jazz. And we were just talking about how hats always change on a night like this because the deal's being made. But Utah is a team that you were expecting to hear from in this draft?
Yeah. I mean, I went to a workout with them. So, they were one of the teams I was kind of expecting to go to.
And what is this night? What did it feel for you just to hear your name and to be able to go through this walk and put that hat on? What is that for you?
I mean, it means the world, It's like NBA 2K. So, to actually do it in real life is just surreal, man.
Did you ever do it? But did you ever create yourself?
Yeah, I did. In 2K, everybody did.
All right, well, right now we'll hear from the actual commissioner on the next pick.
I have a trade to announce.
Oh.
As part of a deal to be finalized later, the Indiana Pacers are trading to the Washington Wizards the draft rights to Bilal Coulibaly, the 7th pick, and the Wizards are trading to the Pacers the draft rights to Jarris Walker, the 8th pick.
Just quickly, it's kind of strange. Couldn't they have just
And
you
with
take
the
this
10th
guy?
pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Cason Wallace from the University of Kentucky.
All right, Cason Wallace from Kentucky. So one of Calipari's guys goes in the top 10. But again, back to the conversation with Taylor Hendricks, because you just sat down. You see what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
On a night like this,
Welcome
just
to
how
the
things
NBA.
can happen. It's just so crazily. But again, as we were saying, like for you, the fit in Utah, which is a franchise that has gone through some transition, they have made some changes there, but really looks like a team that last year didn't make the playoffs, but still were a very competitive team. How do you fit there?
I feel like, we fit perfectly. They like to play big. And, me playing alongside Laurie, Walker, and then Jordan Clarkson, some of the other guys would be, pretty cool. And I'm excited for it, for sure.
You went from a guy no one knew to a guy in the lottery. Process that.
Yeah.
Man, I owe it all to God, man. Like, there's no other explanation for it besides, there's someone else in the greater power working for me.
How about you, Coach? How about the insight that he was able to bring to you for somebody that, coached, played, totally understands the league? What was that experience like?
Coach Dawkins, he was an amazing player. So, to be coached under him and him leading me in a lot of ways on the court and helping me get better, helping me adapt to, different situations was definitely something that helped me throughout my development at UCF.
You got another good coach you're going to play for now. Will Hardy is an exceptional coach.
Yes.
You're going to enjoy that.
And Taylor, for you, of course, you weren't a McDonald's All-American. You weren't one of the guys who everyone was talking about you last year coming into this point. Now you're a one and done. And I thank you for acknowledging the fact that you played for a great player, Johnny Dawkins, my favorite Duke player of all time. Forget what Jay Billis said. Johnny Dawkins started everything again.
Yeah, he did.
But when you think about, where you've come from, similar to Seth's question, but when you look back at it, you felt like you would be here. You felt like you were good enough to be a part of this, correct?
Yes, I do feel like, I'm good enough. I feel like I'm a good enough player to be a part of this league. And, for a team to actually take a chance on me and pick me is a blessing.
But a year ago, did you feel the same way? Did you think I can go to UCF and not have to go to one of the power schools? I can go to UCF and make a way and find myself in the NBA 1 year from now.
I didn't think I was going to do it a year from now. I thought it was going to take me like 2 years or something. But, hey, I'm just glad to be here so early.
We're glad to have you. Welcome to the greatest fraternity to ever exist.
That dude is a bucket.
Thank you.
Taylor, thank you so much. Congratulations. Go get some skis now. You're going to need them.
No, you won't. You will not be doing that.
I'm ready for the snow, man. I'm ready for the snow.
Danny Ainge is listening. You will not be on skis, my friend. Please believe that.
Orlando to Salt Lake City.
Listen to Will. Don't listen to Danny.
Congratulations. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. In the meantime, as the draft continued, of course, as we have these conversations, you heard Cason Wallace from Kentucky. He went number 10 to the Dallas Mavericks, who, if I should just point out, kept that pick because they decided the play-in wasn't worth the time.
You sound a little personal with this, Alan. I understand.
Just saying that should have been another team's pick. I'm leaving it right there. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Back here at the Barclays Center for the NBA Draft, Alan Hahn, PJ Carlesimo, Seth Greenberg, and Corey Alexander here with you. We are 10 picks into the draft. No surprise at the very top, of course, Victor Wembanyama going number 1 to the San Antonio Spurs. And then after that, it has pretty much been as we thought until we got to number 7 when Bilal Coulibaly was taken by the Pacers. But that now has been conveyed to the Wizards as they switch spaces. And as I mentioned before, the Pacers were 7, the Wizards were 8. They flipped picks. Why?
Is there a financial issue?
There has to be more to this.
It has to be something else.
Yeah, but sometimes it's you're not sure what another team is going to do, is going to move up. Sometimes you flip and you're afraid that they're going to buy the pick and they're going to move up and take the guy you want. So sometimes you say, hey, we're going to go to the one that's ahead of us, and we'll do. They draft for us, we'll draft for them. There's usually a little bit of money involved.
A little bit of compensation.
You make sure you're controlling what you want. Interestingly enough, Orlando on the clock right now, they've already made a pick at 6. Don't forget they had Anthony Black, and now they're coming back at number 11.
Again, this is
two,
the 5th.
2 in the lottery.
And we have Adam Silver at the podium.
With the 11th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Jet Howard from the University of Michigan.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
A dynamic shooter with great size for a wing. Howard shot 37% from 3 and flourished in catch-and-shoot situations before injuries derailed his season. He can put the ball on the floor to create space for a shot, a willing passer and facilitator with solid vision.
Juwan Howard, the proudest man in the building right now. Jet Howard, taken with the number 11 pick in the draft. The Oklahoma City Thunder are on the clock. They are followed by the Toronto Raptors as well. You're listening to the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Have you seen the cost of eggs lately? With these prices, we'd barely be scraping by if it weren't for Dave. It's the banking app that advances us up to $500 instantly. There's no interest, late fees, or credit checks. No joke. You can get extra cash for anything your family needs. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
Before Shopify, did you find yourself wondering, where are my sales at? But now you're selling with Shopify, the global commerce platform supercharging your selling. You have no problem selling online, in person, on social media, and beyond. Gary, easy on the cha-ching. I can't even get my lines out.
Oh, sorry, my bad. But my Shopify sales are through the roof.
Amazing, Gary. Bet you're loving how powerful Shopify's tools are.
And I can make my brand look however I want without code.
And that you can sell on all the marketplaces and socials from your Shopify store.
Or all that.
Gary, stop leaving sales on the table. Start selling with Shopify and discover how millions of businesses around the world use Shopify to ignite their selling. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/play. That's shopify.com/play. Shopify.com/play.
This weekend on ESPN Radio, interleague rivals go head-to-head in Los Angeles.
Grand Slam, Jose Altuve.
Jose Altuve and the Houston Astros begin a 10-game road trip against Freddie Freeman and the Dodgers.
Freeman driven well out of here.
The Astros and Dodgers. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on SiriusXM Channel 80. This is the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Right, back here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York at the NBA Draft. We are 11 picks in. The Thunder are on the clock at pick number 12. Jett Howard just went 11 to the Orlando Magic, who's made their second pick in the top 11. And number 10 to the Dallas Mavericks is Cason Wallace from Kentucky. And he joins us right now. And, you know, I always wonder, like, is it better to be surprised that you hear your name and you weren't expecting it, or better to know in advance? What was the situation for you?
I wanted to be surprised. My agent came up to me, he was like, do you want to be surprised or do you want to know? So then he told me, like, there was a trade. So I was like, okay, he didn't give me everything. So when they called my name, it was still a surprise and a lot of emotions.
Cason, this pick that you were taking for the Dallas Mavericks, there was a lot of controversy behind this pick. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what happened for the Mavs to be able to get this 10th pick. However,
do you want me to explain it?
Please, no. I would love for you as a Knicks fan to explain it.
He's too bitter. Get over it.
But we'll just say that
you could have been a Knick. That's what I'm saying. Anyways,
we'll just say that, you know, it was the best $750,000 that Mark Cuban ever spent to be able to have you on the roster. So I want you to feel very special about the opportunity that you have to play for the Dallas Mavericks. What did the Dallas Mavericks get by bringing you into their organization?
I'm definitely humble and glad to be a part of the organization. They get a hard worker, somebody that loves to win, and somebody that's going to do anything in his power to make an impact on the team.
When you went and worked out for Dallas, what was your feel in that workout? Like, as you went in, Jay Kidd, obviously great big guard, knowing they need someone who can guard because they struggled defensively. What was your feeling when you left there?
I felt good when I left. I had a great showing. I feel like I guarded well. I showed that I could score the ball and create for my own. And the talk that I had with them after, I feel like they liked how I played as well.
I tell you what, I know you may not remember. You're a young guy. You're playing for arguably one of the best two, I think, point guards to ever play in the league. You couldn't ask for somebody better to learn from, to learn that position. He's really, really special.
Right.
Okay. How have you enjoyed watching Luka? What's been your take on him?
It's been crazy seeing his game, like the step back. Everybody talked about Harden step back, but Luka is coming up there with him.
I'll tell you what, you said you like to be surprised, right? We have a surprise for you.
No.
Woj is just tweeting that you actually are going to end up in Oklahoma City at the 12th. So they swapped picks. So they moved up for you, and the Mavericks traded them the pick. So you will actually be with a very exciting young team in Oklahoma City with the Thunder. So you'll have to start guarding Luka Doncic. So
that's totally fine. I'm always up for a challenge.
That's an all-Kentucky backcourt right there.
SGA.
Yeah.
SGA will be looking after you.
That'll be fun.
That's an exciting young team. So there you go. You get two surprises in one night. But as we've seen throughout this day, this happens every year. The hats that you're wearing might not be the hats that you keep. So, but it's still a special night for you. You're in the NBA. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Casey, thank you so much.
And you will crush it.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
No doubt about it.
Good luck, Casey.
All right. It's amazing. Like in the midst of a conversation with a prospect, this thing happens. And the surprise
and you got to be the guy to
players.
deliver him the information.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're asking him about playing with Luka. It's like, no, you're going to have to guard Luka.
Right.
Like, get ready for that.
Well, we said it last year. We can't talk. You really can't talk about fitting in with a particular guy or playing for a coach unless you're rock solid that you know they're going to be there, because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
My boy.
Can we bring a Michigan man in here right now?
Did
Jett Howard joins us right now. The 11th pick to the Orlando Magic. And we were just talking about some teams in this league that are young teams that have built through the draft. This is for them. They're going to have 5 picks in 3 years in the top 11. You're now one of them. What are you looking most forward to in Orlando?
Just proving Orlando right. I feel like they made the right decision within the organization, and I obviously just want to prove them right and exceed expectations as well.
Jett, we sat down in a hotel 2 years ago at Geico, me and you and your beautiful mother, Janine, and we're sitting there, we're talking about how can we get you in the McDonald's All-American game?
That was it.
And it didn't happen.
Nope.
And you did not let that hold you back. You went to Michigan. You had a great year. And not only Did you go bear the cold? You're the 11th pick, and you get to go back to sunny Florida, back home.
Boy, I'm happy, boy. What? I'm happy.
Tell me a bit about this process for you over the last 18 months.
Honestly, it was hard. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Just growing and playing for my dad. As a father, you're going to push the most out of your son as possible, especially if you're trying to get to here. So it was tough. Had rough days. We weren't as successful team-wise as we wanted to be, but just sticking down and just keep working. And when the draft process came, even just working harder, and, you know, I can't even explain how I feel right now. So. Yeah.
What is Uncle Phil Martelli thinking right now?
Yo, Phil hype. Phil is hype. And tell his younger nephew Nolan, man, that's my guy. So, yeah, man.
Well, young fella, I'm proud of you, man. Welcome to the fraternity. Of course, you've been a part of this NBA life for a very, very long time, not only with your pops playing, but coaching also with the Miami Heat. And now, of course, you're part of the rival Orlando Magic. But actually, Newt did play for the Magic for a quick second.
Did.
You forgot about that.
I did forget about
Pause
that.
a moment. Adam Silver.
Draft. The Oklahoma City Thunder select Derek Lively II from Duke University.
All right, we will get to that in a moment. But again, Jet, this is now time for your story to begin. So congratulations again, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Tell Dad to sit down and relax. He can take care of Kobe now.
Max, you got to switch tables. You got to switch tables. Yeah.
Jet Howard from Michigan at number 11. And boy, I tell you what, just like his dad, huh? Like the personality.
I tell you what, honestly, even more personality than Juwan. And Juwan was a personality, but Jet is elite. He's the type of young man that walks into the room and he just brightens up the room. His smile, his personality, everything about him. He's the type of guy you want to have on your team.
Orlando has him right now, and Derek Lively the second, and we go back to the podium with
and there's the commission waiting. I was going to say, explain your trade to me now. Kayson's going. Who's going in Kayson's place?
All right, so Kayson, I guess it was for the 12th pick.
So I guess Derek.
What I'm expecting to be officially announced here. According to Woj, Kayson Wallace from Kentucky taken 10th by the Dallas Mavericks, but yet they weren't keeping him, as Woj reporting that they are flipping with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Thunder just selected at 12 Derek Lively II from Duke.
Which makes sense, though.
This has not been officially announced yet, but also it was Davis Bertans is going in the deal as well, the Thunder.
Davis Bertans is a good player. That's a nice piece on the team.
Stretch four.
It is that, but this is a way to get away from some of the money. That's always one of the things that you're looking at when you see these type of trades.
They got to try to sign Kyrie, right?
Dallas moving away from some of the contract over the years. The same thing that the Golden State Warriors did, moving Jordan Poole to get away from that 4 years, $140 million to bring on Chris Paul for 1 year, $30 million. So Davis Bertans, who signed that deal with the Washington Wizards before he was traded to Dallas, now you get off of those years and you bring in Derek Lively, who's much more of a fit for the Dallas Mavericks than is even Kayson Wallace. So with that, you get the defensive center who can block shots. But what people don't realize, he can shoot the three as well.
All right, we'll get back. We'll take a second here to talk about Lively in a moment, but just let's reset. It's Alan Hahn with PJ Carlesimo, with Seth Greenberg and Corey Alexander. Those are the voices you are hearing as we are talking about the 2023 NBA Draft live here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. No surprise at the top, Victor Wembanyama went number 1 to the Spurs. Brandon Miller went number 2 to the Charlotte Hornets, and Scoot Henderson went number 3 to the Portland Trail Blazers. And we have not seen any reports or any type of suggestions out of Portland yet of what's going to happen now, as they have kept the pick so far. There has been some movement, though, throughout this draft. At number 7, Bilal Koulibaly, who was Wembanyama's teammate with the Mets 92 in France, he was taken 7th by the Pacers, but they actually flipped that pick, as the Washington Wizards will get him. The Wizards at number 8 took Jarace Walker from Houston, so they will flip, as Walker will end up with the Pacers. And then just now taken at 12, but he will end up in Dallas. Again, when the music stops, grab a chair. Derek Lively II from Duke. And so if we're looking at him in the prism of going to Dallas, how do we like this fit?
Love it. If Dallas needs a rim protector,
but he is a three-point threat. Derek Lively II did not show his shooting ability at Duke this season, but he showed it all throughout high school, and that's one of the things he's impressed all the teams with during his workouts is his ability to shoot the basketball from deep, and he's got basketball DNA. His mom, Kathy Drysdale, was a big-time hooper.
I think it's a perfect fit because they need a guy who can defend them. They need to improve defensively.
Yes.
I mean, like, let's say they lose Dorian Finney-Smith in that trade. They lost their defensive identity. Rim protection, ball screen defender, runs the floor, offensive rebounds. He can step out. He can play two-man game with, obviously, Luka. That's exciting.
He had 82 blocks as a freshman, the most since the G-Man, Mike Jaminski.
Corey, what's good, my boy? Congratulations.
Thank you,
Hey,
man.
Derek Lively joins us right now.
We made it.
It's been a long road for sure.
It's been a long road for sure, but you made it. You are where you're supposed to be. And going to Dallas, which is a great fit for you, what do you think about that? And when they didn't draft you, were you a little concerned or did you know the trade was happening?
You know, I didn't know the trade was happening, but I was just enjoying my time here. You know, I'm not in a rush of which pick or where I'm going to be. I'm just trying to find the right fit. You know, I feel like Dallas is a great spot where I can fit in really well. I could get my teammates open. I could get Luka. I could get Kyrie open. And then I could put an offensive threat on the glass. You could throw the ball in the air, and I'm gonna go catch it. I'm gonna protect the rim. I'm gonna space the floor. And I'm gonna just try to be the most coachable player on the floor.
What did you learn about yourself this year dealing with all those injuries, fighting through it, and then getting to where, wait a second, who is Derek Lively to where you are today?
You know, it really just comes down to, you know, Derek Lively's way is the hardest way possible. You know, he's gonna find the hardest route to take, and he's gonna take that route 100%. You know, I'm so happy of the year I had. I'm so happy I went through so much adversity. I had a target on my back, and I'm just glad that I'm able to get this far. You know, it's just a start of a new journey, a start of a new dream.
You're such a good offensive rebounder. I look at your numbers, and again, I didn't see you enough to be critical, but I'm wondering, like, exceptional offensive rebounder, a good defensive rebounder, but is that something that could be a better focus for you going forward, the defensive boards?
You know, that's going to be one part of it. You know, I'm going to try to get better at everything. You know, it's rim protection, defensive rebounding, moving my feet on defense, talking in the back line. I'm just trying to expand my game in every way possible.
Derek, you said we have the commissioner coming to the podium. We'll hold right here.
With the 13th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Toronto Raptors select Grady Dick from the University of Kansas.
Wait till you see this suit, everybody. You don't need to flash the lights when Grady Dick comes onto the stage with the suit that he has on today.
Well, at least it's Raptors colors. So it's
That's
fun.
a good point.
But my boy is sharp, though. I like your fit. I like what you did today. Now, here's my thing for you, and I talked to you about this all during the year. I wanted you to show everyone that you could shoot. And again, I understand that you were trying to fit into what you were supposed to do at Duke. But you're not just a good shooter. You're an above-average three-point shooter. You showed people that in your workouts, correct?
That's correct. That's definitely correct. You know, it comes down to putting in the work. You know, you're going to see a lot of hate. You're going to see a lot of publicity going against you. But you just got to use that as fuel to the fire.
Derek, I know you said, you were just focused on, let me just get in the league. Where I'm going, let me know later. But I'm always curious about how this process works. Did you know when you went up on the stage that a trade was when did you find out? Did we tell you? How did this work?
I figured out whenever my name was called. You know, really whenever it was a dream come true. You know, I wasn't sitting here. I heard a lot of people talking on Twitter. A lot of Twitter might have been right. Instagram might have been right. A lot of mock drafts might have been right. But I was just waiting for my name to be called, my name to be on top of that board.
Most important thing is that you're in, right?
Exactly.
You can figure out the rest.
Of course, I'll be able to work on that later.
It sounds like you will be able to work on it. Hey, congratulations. Enjoy the night.
Man.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Well done,
Again,
Derek.
Derek Lively. And you know what? When we do talk about fits, that is a great fit with the Dallas Mavericks when you consider everything that they have been missing, which is rim protection, a guy that can block shots, but also can stretch it as well. And just from talking to him, seems like somebody that really is ready for this mentally.
He absolutely is. He's a strong character young man. He and his mother, of course, his mom fought through cancer and beat that. He was with her every step of the way. Derek was the number one player in high school basketball coming out last season. And again, that carries a lot of pressure, a lot of weight on the shoulders. And this year at Duke, his numbers didn't show
that he was that guy, but his impact did. First team all ACC defensive player, even after missing so much time because of what he did on the defensive end of the floor. He made Duke special, especially late in the season.
And let's face it, he missed early in the season. He was out. He was injured. So literally he came into Duke and he was injured as they were into their season. So like defining his role, learning how to play with these other players. What are his strengths? How are we going to use them? All those things. And you put that and Tariq Whitehead on top of that. Duke was a work in progress, a good portion of the season, which impacted literally how he was going to be utilized because they didn't have enough time to figure it out. They were into the thick of the season, and they really kind of couldn't reinvent themselves.
And Seth, I absolutely agree with that. And we also add the fact that Kyle Filipowski played so well. So all the conversation was about Filipowski, who was not the number one player. And, PJ, you very well know that guys start looking at the attention other guys are going to get, but that did not stop Derek from deter him from being the guy that he could be.
Especially in the one and done here and now. They're talking about one. Dallas had one pick. That's their only pick. We just had Grady Dick for Toronto. Same thing, only one pick.
Right.
So it's interesting. But, you got some teams trying to juggle 4 or 5 picks, and you got others with solely one pick unless they make a move.
And when you have that one, you got to get
it
the
right.
guy.
Exactly right.
And at number 14, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. And here's a team that has been in a lot of discussions over the last couple of weeks because we thought they were going to try to move up. Some of the reports were they were looking to move up. They really liked Scoot Henderson. No trade yet. Nothing has been announced, of course. But the bigger story of their interest in moving up was reports that they would be open to perhaps moving Zion Williamson to get there. Where are the Pelicans with Zion Williamson, and should they consider moving on from him after? I mean, he's missed more games than he's played in his career, but when he does play, he's special.
What is his trade value right now?
His trade value is higher now than it will be next season because he won't make it 82 again.
Wow.
And that's the thing that hurts the New Orleans Pelicans is because the other 29 teams know that. They know he's not going to be available for, a full season. You hope to be able to get him for 65. But at the end of the day, when he's not available, that's always going to be an issue. And he hasn't proven over the 4 years he's been in the NBA that he can be available.
PJ, as a head coach, how do you find a way to get him to understand he needs to get in world-class shape so he can be the best version of who he is for your team?
He hasn't played for just one coach. There's a bunch of them have tried. So far, nobody's gotten through to him. But the problem is when he's played so well, you have to have a lot of guts to pull the trigger on moving him.
Now, this is a night filled with stars and with,
oh my goodness,
with a lot of attention and a lot of glitz and a glamour. And Grady Dick brought all of it in a suit tonight. He joins us right now from Kansas, taken by the Toronto Raptors at number 13. Okay, so you went bold. What was behind the decision with this look that has already gone viral?
Yeah, so another thing that made it come alive was, me being from Kansas, Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, got her little red slippers. So, yeah, put in the coat.
But Grady, this is your personality.
Yeah,
again, I've had a chance to spend time with you over the last couple of years, McDonald's All-American Games, Combine, etc. This is who you are. You're not a guy that shies away from the spotlight. You got a bit of shiny suit in you. So I like the way that you came out and showed that personality off today.
I want to see if you can get self in that suit.
No, I didn't even tell him I was putting this on.
Let me, because we are on radio, we should describe the suit, right? It's the right way to do it. So it is ruby red, double-breasted, and it is just glistening. I mean, it is just glitter and all over. And then
Alan, we got to get Grady to describe it, though. Grady, you tell the people what you wearing today.
Go ahead, yeah.
I mean, it's a Dolce & Gabbana suit, but I don't know how to describe it. It's like exactly what you said, ruby red. It's got a little turtleneck to it.
That thing's got to be really hot.
No. The turtleneck is just like a rectangle. It's hard to explain. It's really airy in the back.
More information than I need.
Yeah, it's all good.
But you complimented with your ice, though. I recognize your ice still sitting
the logo.
In the middle. There you go.
But more importantly, though, as we mentioned, Bill Self, he called you the best freshman shooter he's ever had. I mean, that you're bringing that to the NBA, 40% plus three-point shooting, and from just watching the league how important that skill set is. I mean, is that your confidence coming into this league, no matter who took you? Now, obviously, the Raptors could use shooting. We know that. I mean, do you feel you walk into the league, you know you're going to be one of the top shooters?
Of course, I take so much pride in my shooting, and I have that mentality where I can step in anywhere and make an instant impact early. So that's something, like I said, try to carry that on into Toronto.
And now Adam Silver is just announcing the trade that we had already discussed earlier about the switching of the 10 pick and the 12 pick with the Thunder and the Mavericks. We are here, though, talking with Grady Dick, who was taken at number 13 by the Raptors.
Grady, coincidence that Toronto's red was in
it?
Did you have a hunch where you were going to go or
I
not?
think it's just meant to be. It's just meant to be, I guess. Took my little slipper 3 times.
Well, Toronto is now home. There's no place like it.
And Grady Dick, one of the best shooters in this draft, followed by another one of the great shooters in this draft, Jordan Hawkins, just selected at the 14th pick by the New Orleans Pelicans. Why is it that you're the guy? Why is it that you're the guy that everyone is saying is the best shooter in this draft? Because you don't just do a catch and shoot.
Yeah.
You actually shot over 50% off the dribble threes throughout this season.
I think it just goes back to my mentality as I was talking about. I'm not going to let anybody say that anybody's better than me. Just overall, at the same time, I have the preparation and just confidence in myself, where the work that I put off the court, transitions me into having that mindset early, like I said earlier, of just thinking I'm the best, and really, just the preparation, confidence, or what's going to transition into Toronto and into my personality and stuff like that.
This dude is much more than a shooter. I hate when they put guys in small boxes. You are a great cutter. You're going to rebound the ball. You can put it on the floor. You are fiercely competitive defensively. When people just zero in on, man, I'll take Grady Dick. He can make shots. In the back of your mind, you say, wait a second, I'm going to show people what my game is all about.
Yeah, of course. And I think what's exciting to me is just how different the NBA game is compared to college. More open floor and a lot more room to allow myself to show that versatility. Get to different spots on the court, and where I shoot higher volumes, and a little excitement around the rim too. Is I look forward to.
I was about to say go down the lane and dunk on a couple people. That's part of your package.
Surprise them.
There you go.
Christian Brown did a great job this year. You got an opportunity to jump in and do the same thing.
Yeah.
I hope you do end up in Toronto, because it is one of the best cities in the world. You're going to love it.
You're right. Yeah, that was one of my last workouts, so I got the chance to be out there and see for myself. So I'm definitely excited.
Well, the suit will live forever in NBA draft history, and your impact on the Raptors and the NBA begins now. Congratulations on a great night and a great look. Thanks so much for joining us.
I appreciate it.
All right. While we were talking with Grady Dick, who's taken by the Raptors at number 13, Jordan Hawkins was taken 14 by the New Orleans Pelicans. And you said, as you mentioned, Corey, you're talking about shooters, and you're talking about, we talk about families on a night like this. How about what his family and Angel Reese, what they got to enjoy winning national championships back in March?
Absolutely. And you think about Jordan Hawkins. Jordan Hawkins is the first multi-year college player to be selected in this NBA draft. We're at the 14th pick. We've just finished the lottery.
Right.
This is the first time there's only been one multi-year college player drafted in the lottery since 2006, when PJ, or was it 2007?
7-8 was Kevin's year.
When Kevin Durant and Greg Oden became the guys who had to go to college. So when you think about it, we're in new territory right now. We talked about the fact that we've got so many guys who didn't go the traditional college route. Now we've got the first guy that's played multiple years in college, and that's only 2 for Jordan Hawkins, but to be drafted. So it really shows you where the NBA is going with this
also
draft.
Shows you what he put into work. Jordan Hawkins improved his scoring average over 10 points.
You talked about how much he improved just in the year itself.
In the year.
From the PK in the beginning of the year to I was lucky enough to cover all 6 of their games in the NCAA tournament. You can't play much better than he played in the NCAA tournament.
How many guys move without the ball, change speed, change direction, come off screen, shot ready behind the ball like this kid does?
I can give you guys a story on Jordan Hawkins, and again, I'll remind him of it when he gets here. But I had the opportunity to coach and work with many of these young men at the Nike Elite 100 in St. Louis. And all these guys coming up talking about Elite 100, Top 100, et cetera, et cetera. Jordan Hawkins came out on his own. He was not invited to the camp. He hung around the camp until someone was injured and we could give him a uniform to come in and play in the camp.
He wasn't supposed to be there. He lives in the DMV. He came out there on his own.
Great story.
And actually got to work and, of course, put himself on the map in front of everyone, all the scouts, et cetera, NBA scouts in the building right there, and had an opportunity. And, again, so when you talk about putting in the work, this is a young man who bet on himself and it's paid off.
I go over and watch Connecticut practice all the time. He is as pleasant a young person and as good a teammate and as engaged as any kid that I've been around. And the one thing about the Connecticut program, they get coached every day. I mean, every day. In the summer, in the season, they get challenged, they get pushed. There's no enabling, and he gets coached hard. And he accepted it because he wanted to be special.
With the 15th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Kobe Buffkin from the University of Michigan.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
A versatile combo guard who plays in attack mode, Buffkin possesses great touch around the basket and finishing through contact. A shifty playmaker with 3-level scoring potential.
Another Michigan man taken now at number 15, and we'll get into Kobe Buffkin momentarily. But Jordan Hawkins, who we've been talking about, who was taken 14th by the New Orleans Pelicans, joins us right now. And Jordan, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, I could not help but notice the amount of emotion that was pouring out of you when this pick was made. What did this mean to you?
Man, it's just 21 years of hard work, man. That's what it is. A lot of days my dad pushed me. I didn't really want to play basketball, but he told me basketball can take you places you never expected. So I kept pushing, fell in love with the game, man. I have a deep in love with the game. So this is a special moment in my life. So.
Jordan, I reminded our audience of 2019 Nike Elite 100. You weren't invited to the camp. You just showed up.
Yeah.
And ended up getting a uniform. And not only did you get a uniform, when you walked out of St. Louis, everybody knew who Jordan Hawkins was. Yeah. Now you're the 14th pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah, man.
Just go back and tell me about the journey that has been for 4 years for you.
I've always had that chip on my shoulder, man. So I went to that camp with that chip on my shoulder, knowing I was one of the better players in the country, but people didn't know it yet. So I'm going to continue to have that chip on my shoulder coming into the league. I'm going to be one of the hardworking guys. I'm a winner. I'm a competitor. So that's what I'm bringing to a team as well.
You went from your freshman year to just a guy to your sophomore year being the guy.
Yeah.
What was that transition, that summer between your freshman year and your sophomore year? What was that summer like? I know it was like. Explain to people the commitment and the work and how your approach.
Yeah, man. That summer I got introduced to Don McLean. So I was in the gym with him, man. He pushed me to limits I've never been pushed before. But I needed it, man. I knew I had to be that guy coming in to UConn next year. So I took that personal. Coach Hurley had that trust in me, so I couldn't let him down at all. So I put in a tremendous amount of work. What you see on the court is what I put in the offseason.
And even as a leader in that locker room.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you coming through our freshman year. I learned from all those guys some leadership tips. Especially from you, man. I want to thank you. Becoming a leader, that's what made us win the championship. So thank you.
Jordan, go back with me. First year decision after 2 years of high school.
Yeah.
At Gaithersburg, you go to DeMatha.
Yeah.
Coach Jones is here tonight. And then I want you to talk about those 6 games. I was lucky enough to cover all 6 of those games. We had such a great time together.
Yeah.
Talk about DeMatha, first of all, please.
Man, DeMatha, it was great. It really prepared me for college. It's a really college-ran program, college-ran school. So it really prepared me well. Coach Jones is an amazing coach. I've learned so much from him. And just playing with players like Hunter Dickinson and Earl Timberlake taught me how to play off the ball. So, coming into the league, you're not going to be a ball-dominant player. That's probably going to be 1 or 2 guys coming into this draft going to be a ball-dominant player. So I learned how to play off the ball, which is even more valuable. So.
And speaking of off the ball, you fall now into line with those great UConn shooters. I'm going to name them. Ray Allen and, of course,
Rip
My
Hamilton,
guy.
and now you're the next guy that can fly off screens, that can shoot off the move, making shots, putting pressure on defenses and getting other guys open. Is that something that you set out to be, and did you look at those two guys as really role models to do that?
Man, you know, it was crazy coming to the college. I was never doing that. Like, I was never coming off pins, and it just came natural. I mean, Coach Hurley put me in that type of offense. He prepared me for it my freshman year. And then my footwork just kept getting better and better. In my sophomore year, man, I met with Rip. I got with Rip and got with Ray, and he just taught me how to see everything off those pins, and I took it in like a sponge, and man, I was the killer off the pins. I could score any way or just find any open for a teammate. So.
Give me the last 3 weeks of your Connecticut basketball career.
Yeah.
What were those 3 weeks like, going from Albany to Las Vegas to winning the national championship in Houston?
Man, that team was special, man. That team was extremely special. So it was an amazing run. So I don't think I'm ever going to be part of a team like that again. That team, that special, that championship caliber team. So. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Enjoy this. What a 4 months this has been for you. All the best.
Thank you.
And again, what they need, again, all the things you think about teams need: shooting. Everybody needs it. He brings it. And now we're joined by Kobe Bufkin, who was taken 15th overall by the Atlanta Hawks out of Michigan. And talk about shooting. Somebody that improved his shooting from freshman year to sophomore year exponentially. And Kobe, I always like to just start with the emotion. You know, Jordan was in tears. It all comes together, all the hard work. When you heard your name called, how did that feel?
It felt amazing. You know, Jordan let a few tears out, but I was feeling the same. I was just able to hold mine in a little bit better. But it's excitement, and I'm looking forward to competing for sure.
Kobe, I'm sitting here watching, of course, your college coach, Juwan Howard, and he's up pacing. I honestly believe he was more concerned about where you were going to be drafted than he was even his own son, Jet. But when you think about your time at Michigan and really the player that you've become, you're younger than many of the freshmen who are being drafted in this thing. So this process for you has been a little different, because I don't even believe you would have been eligible to be drafted last year had you wanted to come out after 1 year. You're correct?
Right. Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about this process for you.
I mean, when you go to a school like Michigan with Coach Juwan, he makes it easy. You know, all his experience in the league, and he brings me in and he treats me like a son from day one. So obviously you see the passion that he has for me. It's genuine love, and I appreciate him for sure.
I got a chance to do a couple of your games. I remember I'm sitting there at Northwestern. I forget the little manager's name.
Max.
Fred Flintstone.
Yep.
Fred Flintstone. All right. And my man Fred said, I said, tell me about the guys. And he said, Kobe, he lives in the gym. He literally lives. No one works harder than him. And then you saw, as that season went along, your role changed. The ball was in your hand more the last 10, 12 games. You absolutely tortured people. When you look back, is that your DNA?
For sure. Parents, mom and dad introduced me to the game. They always taught me it was only one way to approach the game, and that's just try to be the best you can be. So, when things were going rough, I just kept working, and I'm just glad the work finally came to light.
It's the Grand Rapids way.
Grand Rapids, baby. Grand Rapids.
What does your name mean to you?
It means everything, It's just another goal to reach. It's just kind of a reminder. It'll be great to even feel half of the shoe that he already has put in place. So, it's something I'm going to chase, and then hopefully I can do something with it.
But you're not going to wear 24, though. You didn't wear 24. You're not doing that.
No. I wear 2 or I wear 4.
Okay.
Never 24, never 8.
I got you.
Yep.
All right. I got you. Makes sense. And also, make sure you braid your hair next time, because I almost didn't recognize you when I saw you first. I was like, it looks like Kobe in the face, but I'm not sure that's
Don't
it.
hate on my look, man.
No. Hey, you got the look right.
Hey, that's a big time suit. I'm not sure anyone at this table could have pulled it off. That is a big time suit. Fred Flintstone would be proud of that.
For sure.
I was going to ask, because again, we're on radio, so Kobe's wearing it, which is a fantastic suit.
Big time
but
suit.
he left the shirt back in the hotel, apparently.
That's the work you put in the weight room, baby.
I knew it was going to get a little hot in here, so I took the shirt
Richard
off.
Jefferson look.
We go to the podium with the commissioner, Adam Silver.
Pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Keontae George from Baylor University.
Keontae George from Baylor. Again, as we say, thank you to Kobe Buffkin, who is actually very happy to hear this pick being made by the Utah Jazz. Another pick for the Jazz, by the way. All right, gentlemen, what does Keontae George bring to the NBA out of Baylor?
Keontae George is an excellent combo guard. He's a young man who was one of the top players in the country a season ago, went to Baylor, and in all honesty, went to Baylor and got his body right, got into great shape, of course, down with Scott Drew. And with that, he had an excellent freshman year and now finds himself in a position to be able to go in and help a Utah team that has some really good guards. But when you have really good guards on a team that's not winning, many of those guys could be on the move. So a great chance for Keontae to be able to step in and play right away.
Big physical ball guard is what he is. He's a scorer. He can play the point. He can distribute. He can see plays. He can make shots. He's got range. He's got a mature body. I got a chance to watch him early in the season. Another guy that, as the season went along, because he was banged up a little bit early. As the season went along, you could see him growing. I mean, he had big time games, and like big 30-point games where he could legitimately take over the game. So it's going to be interesting.
I also had an opportunity to talk to Keontae before the draft. You think Grady Dick's suit was nice? Wait till you see what Keontae's rocking.
He's up at the podium with the commissioner taking the photo, and yes, you can see it from here as he will join us shortly. And, again, when you say a big, physical, strong guard, you don't have to tell me what school he's from. You just think Baylor right away. But now all of a sudden you look at what Utah is putting together here with a couple of picks that they have made so far in this draft with Taylor Hendricks as well. Here. They're setting themselves up certainly for the future. All right, so the Lakers are now on the clock at number 17. After them, the Miami Heat. We will continue with our coverage here at the Barclays Center, the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
I'm Andrea, founder of a boutique handbag brand, Andy, and this is why I switched to Shopify. I tried 3 other platforms prior to Shopify, and I remember my breaking point was when I would try to make one little change and my entire site would go down. Shopify made it really easy for me to shift everything over and hit the ground running. I was easily able to migrate my products and all of my customer information over. With the drag and drop theme editor, we don't need to hire a developer to do any coding. What's amazing is that each theme is automatically optimized on mobile. It's incredible. It looks even better on the phone. We really like adventure. We would not be able to go on the road without a platform that we can rely on. What are you waiting for? Start your free trial with Shopify today.
From templates that make site design simple to customizations that let you grow at your pace, this is your possibility powered by Shopify. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/play. That's shopify.com/play. Go to shopify.com/play to take your business to the next level today.
On June 30th, a hero arrives only in theaters.
Indiana Jones, a final triumph.
This summer, a legend will face his destiny.
I've seen things I can't explain, but I've been looking for this all my life.
His final adventure.
Give him hell, Indiana Jones!
Will be his greatest.
This is it.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. Only in theaters June 30th. Tickets on sale now.
You're listening to the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
And we welcome you back to the Barclays Center here in Brooklyn, New York at the NBA Draft. And it has been an eventful night so far. At number 1, the Spurs took Victor Wembanyama. No surprise there. And then it continued throughout with Brandon Miller going number 2 to the Charlotte Hornets. Scoot Henderson, number 3 to the Portland Trailblazers. We've had a bunch of pick swaps and movement that we'll catch you up on, of course, momentarily. But right now, we are joined by Keontae George, who was taken 16th to the Utah Jazz out of Baylor. And we just had Grady Dick here with his suit And his was pretty, I mean, we're talking about bling, was all over the place. When you put yours on, did you think no one's matching this? And then you saw him and said, really?
I expected it coming from GD. He's one of those guys that's like to be loud.
But yours isn't quiet either, though. But
I tried to be a little loud coming out tonight. It's a special night, so I tried to.
Absolutely. Just your emotions with the journey you have been through to get to Baylor and then to be here tonight and to be drafted in the first round of the NBA draft.
Man, it's just a big time blessing being able to, get your name called. Have a team that believes in you. I just can't. I don't know how to feel right now, man. This is just a dream come true. This is something that you talk about, you dream of, and not a lot of people get to accomplish it. So,
Keontae, the first time I met you, you were in the 8th grade. We were in Atlanta at an 8th grade All-Star game, and now you're here, an NBA draft pick. First and foremost, welcome to the fraternity. But secondly, the work that you put in on your body from a year ago, McDonald's All-American game, to playing at Baylor, that was something that was attached for you to put in that work, not only just on your game, but also on your body as well, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you got to carry yourself like a pro if you want to, be successful. And, I seen the things of that nature, and, I knew what I wanted to be at. I knew what my end goal was. And so that was just something I took upon myself to really, transform my body, get in elite shape. Get my pop back in, now, everybody's starting to see the hard work pay off.
Keontae, what was the process like? How many different teams did you visit or talk to, or was Utah a place that was on your radar? Did you just kind of come in here tonight saying, hey, whatever happens, happens, or do you have a hunch where you might end up?
Yeah, I mean, I came in here with, with no expectations. I just, came in here just trying to have a good night. But, I was able to have the opportunity to visit Utah. And, I really, really liked it. So, I was hoping back in my mind that I was going to end up there. But, I'm glad that they just believed in me.
When you get to Utah, what can they expect from you?
Man, I'm going to be a coachable kid. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. I feel like my scoring ability is, one of the best. So, I feel like I can, bring that to the table, continuing to, perfect my, creating for others, creating for myself, making sure, I have that all-around game, offensively and defensively. So, man, I'm going to get an all-around player.
Keontae, congratulations to see you in Utah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy it.
We continue with the draft. Pick number 17 is the Lakers, a pick that was being bandied about as well, and what they would do with it. But Jalen Hood-Schifino from Indiana was taken by the Lakers here as we move on through this draft. Do we like this pick?
I do like this pick, a big point guard who can step in and play backup minutes to LeBron James, who's going back to the point next year. I'm calling it now because he won a championship in 2020 at the point guard position. I don't know why he keeps going out trying to get all these free agent point guards. And now with Chris Paul off the market, I believe that LeBron will go back to the point with Austin Reeves beside him. So I believe Jalen Hood-Schifino is a great backup to be in the midst with them if, and we always say if he is a Los Angeles Laker next season.
Right.
I think this is a great choice. Jalen Hood-Schifino is a grown man, physically, hard downhill driver, shoots the ball to the three-point line, a committed defender. And, I don't get caught up in, point guard, what position guys play, just for the fact that Corey, to me, if you have LeBron, there'll be times he's going to advance the ball, or just like there's times Jokic advances the ball and Bam advances the ball. I mean, obviously, at the end of the game, I think I know his wall is going to have the ball in their hands. But this guy can play with anyone. And, and LeBron can play anywhere. This kid has a maturity about him. And you know what, the one thing we should say, every single one of these kids have been sat here and visited with us, blown away by their poise, their perspective, the manner in which they view this day, their appreciation. I'm just blown away by the young people that are coming here and making this monumental move in their lives at a younger age each and every year than the year before.
The preparation is starting earlier and earlier. That's one of the things that we're seeing, of course, with this generation of basketball player. They're working on their interview skills.
Oh, yeah.
They're working on their ability to be able to truly, express what they're feeling, express their emotions, and also to build their brand. And they understand that this is a part of building their brand, the way they carry themselves on the microphone, whether it's on TV, whether it's on radio, whatever it may be, that their words are powerful. And I believe that that message is being taught to these young players earlier and earlier throughout their lives.
And they certainly, again, it's just identifying, like we just heard, the conversation we just had is about how you carry yourself as a pro. Well before you even get to being a pro, learn how to carry yourself as that. We are at the NBA draft. We are here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. The Miami Heat are on the clock at pick number 18. It's Alan Hahn. I'm joined by PJ Carlesimo, Seth Greenberg, and Corey Alexander. We have gone through this draft. It has been a very eventful draft. There's been some movement. And at the very top of the draft, and no surprise, Victor Wembanyama went number 1 to the San Antonio Spurs. Coach?
I tell you what surprises me, and you guys were just talking about it. These guys are so young. This is the NBA now. The expectations, they know they're going to be drafted. I mean, they don't even think of going more than 1 year. But going back to what Seth talked about when he's describing Jalen Hood-Schifino, I got to watch him the first 2 games in the NCAA this year in Albany. He's a man. We've had some young guys up here, that are going to be successful in the league. Don't get me wrong, but this guy is a man. He is one strong young guy. He's ready to come in and bang with the veteran players in the league, not just the younger players in the league. That is going to be a great asset for him.
There's a great note here, by the way, as we were talking about this pick. So Jalen Hood-Schifino, if he stays with the Lakers, which, again, on draft night you never know, he'd be the first-round rookie to play on a LeBron James team since Mo Wagner in 2018-19. And Wagner, as we know, lasted just 1 season before he was traded. So it's not typical that you do this around LeBron James, but I think he kind of enjoyed playing with younger players this past season.
So that was pretty much just a kiss goodbye you just gave him.
Saying, don't buy green bananas, right? But it is something, though, we have seen, though, with LeBron. It's like this past year has been more of a younger group around him that he seemed to enjoy the energy that they had. And so, of course, there is that possibility that he is here. As Jalen joins us right now, and Jalen, the Lakers, L.A., Showtime, baby. How does that feel?
It's kind of hard to put into words, but it's kind of like a full circle moment for me because growing up, my favorite player was Kobe Bryant. So for me to get drafted by him, it's just like a crazy feeling, and I'm just so thankful for the organization. And yeah, man, it's just crazy right now.
Well, Jalen, I've been watching you play for a very long time, and even though Kobe was your favorite player, you play a little more like a guy that could be your future teammate. With size, your strength, your ability to pass the basketball, make plays off the bounce, and be a facilitator as a point guard. What's it seem like to you? I mean, what's it feel like to you, the fact that you may end up being a teammate with LeBron James?
That's crazy. That is crazy. And it's funny because, like, when I was getting interviews before the draft, they were saying, like, when you get to the league, who's somebody you want to dunk on? And I kept saying LeBron.
Oh.
But, nah, man, it's crazy. Obviously, he's one of the best players to ever play the game. So to be able to, play with him and learn from him is going to be a great experience. And like I said, I'm just thankful.
When you went to work out for the Lakers, what was that experience like? Did you think that, I know it's 17, but the workout was really good, the feedback you got? What kind of feedback did you get from the Lakers?
Yeah, that was actually like my first workout. And I was training out in L.A., so that was my first workout. But yeah, it was really good. I loved the facility, had a good workout. Obviously, I had a great meeting with everyone at the organization. So, for them to take me right now, like I said, I'm thankful, and I'm just really appreciative of it.
He looks like a Pittsburgh guy. We were bragging on you when you were up there putting your hat on and shaking hands with the commissioner. But seriously, we got a chance to watch in your 2 NCAA games. You come in, your strength, your size is going to be a big asset for you coming in this league because, as you well know, you're playing with one of the oldest and the best to ever play the game. But you're better prepared than a lot of other young guys coming into this league.
Yep, definitely. That's something I've kind of always, like, focused on was my body. So obviously, like you said, I have a strong body and a strong build. So I think that's gonna separate myself from other younger players stepping into the league. So I think that's gonna be good for me.
What were those football coaches doing in Pittsburgh
That's
when you
amazing.
were growing up, man?
Oh man, I was in Pittsburgh, so I was running a lot of hills.
Yeah, better believe it.
Jalen, did Mike Woodson and his NBA experience have anything to do with you choosing Indiana and getting you to this point? Is this playing for a coach that had coached in the NBA and been so much a part of it? Was that part of the reason you went there to have you sitting here today?
100%. Like I've always had a goal since I was like 5 years old to get to the NBA. So fast forward to me having to pick a college. Knowing Coach Woodson, him being a player and a coach, that was definitely one of the main reasons. And then once I met him, he was just even a better person. So it was just genuine, and for sure, definitely him having the NBA experience definitely drew me to Indiana.
Well, Jalen, I guess the first scrimmage you'll play in the Lakers facility. If LeBron is there, you might as well try it early. And see if you can get it done.
Right.
Congratulations. Enjoy it. I've heard LA is a nice place to live.
Yeah.
Way to go out on a
All the best.
Yeah, appreciate
Congratulations.
you. Thank you.
Don't
Jalen
bother
Hurts,
dunking
Pino.
on him.
If you're going to do it when he's not paying attention. Because once he hears about this, it's not going to happen. Now, again, while we were talking with Jalen, with the 18th pick in the draft, Jaime Jaquez from UCLA was drafted. This guy, I feel like when we talk about players, when I've asked around about it, they have said that winner is the response I've gotten about him. Winner.
I got a chance to do a ton of his games, living out in Seattle and doing a lot of Pac-12 games. And going back to when he played in the empty stands and got to the Final Four in Indianapolis, I mean, this guy is top 10 in points at UCLA. I think he's top 10 in steals. I believe he's 11th in rebounds. He's played the most postseason minutes. He is absolutely a warrior. And he's been listening throughout his entire career. Well, maybe he's not quick enough to do this, not big enough to do that. And he's been doing it on the biggest stage ever since. It was great seeing him last night. We were all in the same restaurant together. He was there with his younger sister, who's a heck of a basketball player for UCLA herself. And I'll tell you what, I'm really glad to see the Heat, and not by accident. I hope that's where he ends up. But he'll fit in with that culture very, very well.
He's a winning player. He impacts winning. He's got a maturity. Now, here's a guy who's a 4-year guy. All right. And and you know what? 4-year guys have had success also. I mean, you think about Hart, you think about, Brogdon, you think about, and he fits that mold of just a grown, mature guy that will play to his strengths, that will find ways to get 50-50 balls, that can score at 3 levels, a little bit better shooting than you think, has an unbelievable feel, creates angles. Like, I just think the guy, like, PJ, you hit it right on the head, man. Everyone goes, well, even coming out of high school, well, he's this, but he's not that. And all he does is win.
Well, and he plays hard.
Oh, does he ever?
And again, no place values that more so than what they do in South Beach. So the fact that he goes out and plays hard, that's all Pat Riley needs to see. Everything else you can teach, but you cannot teach motor. There's nothing you can do.
And whatever he needs to improve on, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
He's going to put the work in. There's no question about that. He did it. And, when Mick Cronin talks about him, it's unbelievable. And if you know what Mick is like.
And if you can play for Mick Cronin,
exactly.
You can play for anybody.
It's good training. Getting ready for if he does stay with the Heat, it's good training. And Mick doesn't cut any of his slack. And those guys, they want to be coached. And this dude is a winner.
Jaime Jaquez is going to join us here momentarily, but let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Back here at the Barclays Center for the NBA Draft. We are 18 picks through the first round. The most recent one, Jaime Jaquez Jr. from UCLA. And as he joins us right now, all the guys are saying this. It's like there's certain players where you're like, oh, perfect fit for this team. Miami Heat, Are they a perfect fit for you?
I mean, I think so. I love the way they play. I love their organization. I grew up a Laker fan, but the Heat were always a team that I really loved to watch and play, and always admired what they were about. So,
Jaime, did you make a deal like I can only play in warm weather climates? I mean, you go from L.A. to Miami. I mean, what kind of deal and who did you make this deal with to make that happen?
Man, I think I'm just blessed, man. God's got me. Blessed me with nice weather, great city, and I just can't thank him enough.
Well, you're the first 4-year college player to be drafted here today.
Wow.
All right. What does that say for you and really where you came from going into UCLA to where you are now when you're leaving?
It's just I try to run my own race. I don't really try to pay attention to anyone else. I just focus on what I'm doing and what my team's about. And my journey was a lot different than a lot of other people's. But at the end of the day, I made it to where I wanted to go, and that's to the NBA. And I just can't be happy enough.
You went to work out for the Heat. What was that experience like? And what during the course of that workout and interview, what kind of feedback did they give you in terms of knowing you were a fit?
They're all about toughness and winning and playing hard. And, that's what I'm all about too. I went to play under Coach Cronin for 4 years, and that was emphasized and really ingrained in my brain. And, I think over there, the Heat staff and the front office, that's what they're about. And they're looking for winners. And I think that's why I go so well there.
Hey, Haim, talk a little bit about your heritage and what that means to you coming into the NBA and being a role model.
I mean, it's huge, man. It's huge. I'm just, like you said, inspiration, just trying to be a guy that people can look up to and say I can do it too. So it's very important for me to represent my heritage and my culture, and I'm just very blessed to do that on such a big stage.
Well, Jaime, congratulations. You go now to Heat culture. Enjoy.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy the Heat. Not that you didn't have any in L.A.
Way to go, Jaime.
That is terrific. And while we were talking with Jaime, the 19th pick in the draft was selected, Brandon Podziemski from Santa Clara, a very interesting player here as the Warriors, who, by the way, there's trades going on, not made official yet, but one trade that was reported today that will happen is Chris Paul going to Golden State. Imagine that, to join Klay Thompson and Steph Curry in that backcourt. Well, Podziemski is a guard as well here. How does he fit in this equation, guys?
Big-time shot maker. I mean, a big-time shot maker who has a floor game, terrific passer, played for. Now, think about this. You talk about finding the right fit. He goes to Illinois, transfers, plays for Herb Sendek, right fit, more responsibility, high basketball IQ, terrific passer, big-time NBA three-point range. Physicality and toughness. I spoke to one guy that interviewed him, though. It's kind of interesting. He took a notebook into every single meeting with every single team. And he had notes. No. He had notes on the team. And so one of these guys said, what do you have on our team? And let's put it this way. My man has no fear. Because he was brutally honest. So this kid's not afraid, but he played for a terrific coach in Herb Sendek. He's a big-time shooter, has a very, very good feel, really passed the basketball. I think he's a guy that, again, if you lose in pool, you need another shot maker. You're going to have Chris Paul. I think pretty good selection.
And he's a very good rebounding guard also.
I was just going to say his rebound numbers are off the chart. I know it's a WCC, but still, 8.8 boards a game.
You got to want to get rebounds, though. Yeah. Podziemski, again, joining a team that, is the window closed for the Golden State Warriors as far as trying to win another championship? Are they at a point where do we still consider them a championship contender? They lose a young player. They gain one now here in this draft. They still obviously have Jonathan Kuminga, who they're very high on. They're waiting to take that next step in Moses Moody. Where are the Golden State Warriors right now, guys?
I think a lot of it hangs in the balance with what happens with Draymond Green this summer. I think that's going to be a huge key for the Warriors moving forward throughout this offseason. What happens there, and how do they continue to move forward with or without Draymond in the mix?
Yeah, because there's no question that incident when he punched Jordan Poole, you can't for years talk about the culture and the chemistry and how well those guys all got together and how important that was for their success. and then all of a sudden you have an incident like that and pretend it doesn't impact the team. I think it weighed on the team the entire year. I didn't know what they were going to do. I don't know if that entered into the trading Jordan Poole or not, but clearly Draymond Green's got to get back to being Draymond Green, trusted leader on that team, or they got to move on from him. And Steve Kerr's been very open about if they don't have Draymond Green, then the window's closed right now. No question.
And Brandon Podziemski joins us right now. Again, the pick from Santa Clara going to the Golden State Warriors at number 19. And, Coach was telling us a story about how you went to your different meetings with different teams with a notebook, notes on different teams, and you were pretty critical. What were your notes on the Warriors?
Yeah, right across the top was perfect fit. I think my IQ and my shooting ability, I think, is just a perfect fit for what they do out there. Santa Clara being 30 minutes south of the Golden State Warriors arena, got to go to plenty of games this year and see how they play. And congrats, boy. I just think it's a perfect fit. In media last night, they were like, who do you want to go up against? Who are you most excited? And I was like, Steph. And now I'm his teammate. So it's just a blessing. A lot of Milwaukee guys are out there already. Patrick, Kevon Looney. So I'm just super blessed. God put me in the right spot.
And Brandon, when you think about, this opportunity for you, you're also making Santa Clara a powerhouse. This is the second year in a row that Santa Clara's got a first rounder. Jalen Williams had a great season this year at OKC. Are you looking to try to duplicate that type of success?
Yeah, big shout out to him. He's part of the reason I went there, seeing his success and what he did. Coach Sendek gave me the keys and said, we need you to do what Jalen did for us. And, I like to say I'm not going to be the last one. I think we got, a couple years down the line, we got some more coming.
What's Coach Sendek like in terms of what advice did he give you as you came in and gave you those keys? What was the idea about how he was going to use your skill set?
Yeah, we talked a lot during the recruiting process in the portal and how much of an unselfish player I am and how I like to get my teammates involved. And, he basically like, we're going to trust you with everything. And I thought that was super impactful, coming from playing, 4 minutes a game at Illinois and being asked to do something that a lottery pick was doing. That was super special to me.
And he's a genius, by the way.
100%.
Brandon, I want to go back to Illinois with you. I mean, you from Wisconsin, you're playing in the Midwest. I can't be thinking you're going home watching WCC games every night. Why Santa Clara? How did that come about? And obviously, what a great experience that's been for you.
About 2 seconds after I entered the portal, Coach Ryan and Coach Herb called me on the phone and, really engaged from jump. And I thought that's hold a special place in my heart just because they believed in me from the jump. And, through visits, seeing what Jalen did through his process, Keyshawn Justice, my teammate from Madison, Wisconsin, knew him growing up. So everything, all those things combined, I just thought it was the perfect fit for me.
Brandon, decision. 8.8 rebounds a game. Well, give us 1 second.
Could select Cam Whitmore from
Let's
Villanova
go, Cam.
University.
And as Brandon is cheering on Cam Whitmore, who goes to Houston Rockets, do you guys become friends through your workouts? Is this why you're rooting for Cam Whitmore? Or do you know Cam Whitmore going back?
Cam's my agency, WME. Him, Jarris Walker, Anthony Black, Grady Dick, all those guys. I'm just super, super impressed to see them succeed.
That's a pretty good five, by the way.
Whoa, they had a good year.
I'll take WME over anybody.
When you go back and when you look at the rebounding numbers, that's the one skill that everyone says translate from college to the NBA game. If you can rebound in college, you can rebound in the NBA. Do you expect to be that type of rebounding guard?
Yeah, I think with the Golden State Warriors, I told them from jump, I expect to be a triple-double guy. I can pass, dribble, and shoot. I think rebounds my specialty. As the 9 rebounds a game, I think I'm the best rebounder in this draft class. I just got heart and I fight. It's really what it comes down to.
Love it.
You said at the Warriors, you wrote perfect fit. Well, here you are.
Here I am. God works in wonderful ways.
It is amazing. Go ahead and fit in. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job, Brandon. Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Congrats, Brandon Podziemski, again, from Santa Clara by way of Illinois, going to the Golden State Warriors. And he gets to learn from guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And he seems like the type of guy that'll be a sponge around players like that.
Brandon might be doing some teaching. He's coming in with his own notes.
He's got the notes.
It's unbelievable.
That's a
Hey,
great
let's put
story.
it this way. They weren't also complimentary.
But then rather than that, though, it shows you he's doing his homework. All right, well, while we were talking with Brandon, Cam Whitmore, as you saw the celebration, the Houston Rockets pick him up from Villanova. And, again, we just talk about fit. We talk about, players who, where they land, how does it work for them? How does this work for him at Houston?
Elite athleticism for Cam Whitmore. He is very skilled. The one knock on Cam Whitmore has been maybe his basketball IQ moving to this point. I believe that's the reason that he's fallen this far down.
Yeah,
into
he was
the draft.
expected to go a little bit higher.
He was absolutely expected to be a lottery pick.
But he was all over the draft. I mean, it was worked out for so many teams, and it was such a range of teams with him. You weren't sure where he was going to end up.
And I believe that had a lot to do with how well and how quickly he processes information on the basketball court. Very intelligent young man off the court, but I think that was part of what pushed him down this far. So now Cam has that in front of him to be able to go out and prove to these teams, because, PJ, you know very well, you may not have practiced a set that you run in a game in the NBA.
Exactly.
It gets drawn up on a board, and you're expected to go out and run that action, and if you can't play. It's that simple in the NBA game.
And he started out behind he missed the beginning of the season. So, I mean, he was behind. You talk these one-and-done guys. If all of a sudden you miss some of the preseason or the entire preseason and some games in November, December, boy, I mean, you're into it, and this is your 1 year in college.
You're behind the curve. That's exactly what happened. I actually went over to watch him practice. He didn't practice. He was in a cast. They were doing conditioning with him. But, I mean, he missed the most important time of the season. He missed the end of the summer, the beginning of the year,
and a new coach
on
top
coach,
of that,
and expectation with a young backcourt. Not with that veteran backcourt, not with one of those typical Villanova guards, but with a young, experienced backcourt.
Justin Moore was out.
As well. So look, he's a big time athlete, physically strong, competitive, tough, but there's a learning curve. He might be one of those guys people say, oh, man, they got him at 20?
Yes, yes.
We shall see. Well, we got him right now at number 20 with the Houston Rockets. Cam Whitmore joining us right now. And Cam, you're one of the younger players. You're 18 still, right?
Yes, sir.
In this draft. So it's still a lot of learning for you to do going forward. Your name was all over the place when it comes to the mocks. Were you surprised to last as long as you got to 20?
I mean, it is what it is, man. I'm in the NBA, so I'm just happy to be here. I'm grateful. So, I mean, that's what it's all about. But, prove them wrong. I mean, I may slip, but it is what it is at the end of the day.
Cam, for you, an opportunity to go to Houston with a new coach, Ime Udoka, who's had a lot of success in the NBA, as well as a very young team. What do you look forward to most of being able to get to Houston?
Just to provide. I mean, they're also a young team, so, I mean, going in there, provide impact the team both ends of the floor, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm all about, have that competitive spirit both ends.
I just look at the history of those Villanova guys. They always find a way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that X.
They always do. I mean, they in all of them in the playoffs right now. So we ain't just go through there just for nothing. I mean, everybody proved their name. Kel, Brunson, Hart, all them.
How hard was it for you being banged up early in the season?
I mean, I battled through some tough stuff. So, I mean, coming back from injury, I battled through some stuff, injuries, off-court stuff. So, I mean, it ain't nothing.
How much has Carmelo Anthony meant to you in your development?
It means a lot to me. I mean, just somebody who's been there since I was in middle school and then to now still admiring my game, encouraging me, building me up, motivating me. So, I mean, just him being in my corner, I mean, he a Hall of Famer scorer. So, just, I'm very grateful for that.
Cam, I know you know this. You got to just focus and enjoy exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
You mentioned Brunson. You mentioned Hart. The Villanova guys that have done that.
For sure.
I know you also know Nikola Jokic, who was drafted 41.
Yeah.
He's the best player in the league.
I know. It's a lot of undrafted players, so I'm not fazed at all.
Cam, coming through high school, you were one of those guys that you were always highly talked about, but they didn't have you at the top of the class.
Yeah.
Is that something that you carry with you as a chip on your shoulder, and you'll continue to carry that with you throughout the NBA?
Shoot. Ever since I was in middle school, overlooked. I mean, that's just, what it is. But I got to translate it to NBA. I mean, just, it is what it is. I have nothing else to say.
You crushed it in USA basketball. Like, this is a real simple thing. Opportunity is what all you need.
Yeah.
You've got every single trait, toughness, athleticism, maturity. And an 18-year-old,
Appreciate that.
enjoy the process,
Yeah.
man. You're going
Yes,
to
sir.
crush it.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. That's much
man.
love.
Absolutely.
Good luck.
Congratulations. Thank you, Cam. You know, and a lot of times everybody's journey is different. Everybody's story is different. How you get there sometimes doesn't matter. The whole idea is get there.
Amen.
He's 18 years old.
The youngest player in the draft.
He's just he is just scratching the surface, missing the whole preseason. It's mind-boggling how young the league is, PJ.
Well, we talked about Jalen Hood-Schifino being a man's body.
This dude is-
Cam Whitmore,
Yeah.
he's ready to roll right now.
He absolutely
Yeah,
is.
no question.
And he's one of those guys, of course, when you take him, you know that it's going to take a little bit of time. And you don't expect him to come in. And again, drafted at 20, they don't expect you to come in and do a lot day
Little
one.
buzz in the building here now. Next
Brooklyn
two
Nets
picks.
on the clock.
With the 21st pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Noah Clowney from the University of Alabama.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
A high-energy big man with excellent defensive versatility. Clowney is long and agile, switches, and rotates quickly to block shots. He has floor spacing potential, a fluid stroke, and has a quick release. He is at his best finishing at the rim.
21 for 21 out of the green room. You know, usually we get somebody, you know, that didn't anticipate.
Not here.
All 21 players have come out of the green room. Three still left out of the 24 in the green room.
I was just about to say, did you say that a little too early, though, Pete?
They kept on adding guys, too.
But you
Three
know what?
more.
But Nate Oates does it again. He sends another one to the league, and this is a big man that, you know, for the Brooklyn Nets, as they have now gone through the I'm not going to call it a rebuild. This is a transition now out of what they went with all the stars. I mean, Mikal Bridges proved that he could be a stud and somebody to build with, and they needed size. They got some here with Clowney.
And he's very similar to Nick Claxton. So when you think about probably a better shooter right now coming into the NBA, but similar from the standpoint of his defensive ability to be able to switch ball screens as well as be able to defend the rim, and an athlete that can run the floor, put pressure on the defense on the other end.
And get on the offensive glass. He's a good offensive rebounder.
Shot at 28% for three-point line. If you look at his stroke, early in the season, he really shot it. And then he kind of leveled off a little bit as the season went along. It could be fatigue. It could be everything that obviously that team is going through. He is active, alert, defends, runs the floor, competes. And let's say no one thought this guy was going to be – he wasn't recruited to be a first-round draft choice. He was recruited to be a 2, 3, 4-year guy. He was an if. He was but he had an opportunity. The system is good. And he grew because of just how hard and active he played.
He's 18 also.
Yeah,
We're talking another 18-year-old.
And we also
7'2" wingspan.
We mentioned earlier, of course, Bilal Coulibaly and all the attention he got playing alongside Victor Wembanyama. Think about how many eyes were on Brandon Miller and how you see Noah Clowney when you're watching Brandon Miller throughout all those games.
That's an excellent point. Let's also point out, too, so the Nets have back-to-back picks here. 22 is actually their pick. This 21, this is thanks to Kevin Durant and that trade they made with the Phoenix Suns. So this is all part of how you build back your franchise after giving up or moving on from a legendary superstar in Durant.
Man, I'm not talking about KD and James Harden and Kyrie, but there's some players who are pretty damn good players for the Nets playing for other teams right now with this whole shuffle that they've gone through now. I mean, they could have most of these guys still here. This is a heck of a basketball team.
One of them got a ring by the name of Bruce Brown.
Thank you.
Remember, he was on the playoff roster a season ago.
And a
for the
major
Brooklyn Nets.
contributor.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, and he's about ready to get paid.
As much as Michael Malone said, you're not going anywhere, you might not have a choice.
That just upped it a few billion, by the way.
Stan Kroenke says it's okay, then it's okay.
Yeah. But the Net, as we said, the Nets now, is it back-to-back picks for them? Where is Brooklyn right now in what they're trying to do since they finally let go of that effort they made in 2019 with Kyrie and KD?
I mean, Nick Smith's available. He coming into the season before all his injuries. I mean, he is a big-time shot maker that obviously was another guy that was injured. Harder to get an evaluation on. I mean, Dariq Whitehead, harder to get an evaluation on. Derek Lively played through that. I'm interested to see like where he goes because Nick Smith is a guy had a leadership, got a big time stroke.
To me, he is the steal of this draft.
Yeah, right
I
now,
believe wherever you get Nick Smith Jr., you are getting a player that will outperform his draft stock, just like we saw with Donovan Mitchell, just like we've seen with so many players. Michael Finley way back in my 1995
Exactly right.
draft.
Well, we talked about the three that are left. We have a Frenchman, a Canadian, and we got Nick Smith. 3 guys left in the green room.
And right now, sitting with us is Noah Clowney. We've just talked about him, number 21 pick for the Brooklyn Nets out of Alabama.
Noah, welcome home. This is your new home, my man. How have you enjoyed your time in Brooklyn?
It's been fun. It's been like ever since we landed, you know, it's like the feeling actually becoming real. Like you finna get drafted, then to be drafted in the city where the traffic's been in the arena. So it's like, you know, fans here like.
You don't have to go far for your team interviews and your press conference tomorrow. By the way,
Did you know? Did you have an idea? Like you said, when you landed, did you have an indication that Brooklyn was interested?
So I had a select few teams that I knew were a possibility. When I landed in Brooklyn, I actually had a workout with them the next day, and the workout went great. I guess so.
Clearly,
we are.
Noah, when you look at the Brooklyn Nets and you see a guy like Nick Claxton, who's their starting center right now, do you see yourself fitting into a role like that, but adding the shooting touch? Is that how you see yourself moving forward in the NBA?
I can see myself playing the 4 there and small ball 5. Like, whatever I'm asked to do, obviously that's what I'm going to do. If you ask around, like, I've always been the type of guy, like, win first, self later, really.
Stay that way. It takes you a long way in this league.
Be a winning player, man. Be a winning player. There's no doubt about it.
I spent a year here, the first year this building opened. I coached the team. It's a great place. It's a great place to play. They're good fans. Gentleman next to me might disagree. He works across the river, but I'll tell you what, he'll tell you playing in New York is a great thing.
That part is. It's nothing better than playing in this city. But I'll let you know that I'll root for you for all but 4 games a year. But aside from that, though, again, it's the culmination, obviously, of a dream for you, right? Like that's what it's about. Did you expect it to come this soon?
Obviously, going into college, I wasn't highly recruited. Even coming out of high school, like I think my highest ranking was on ESPN. I was 68th coming out of high school. Going into college, nobody thought I'd be in the draft at all. By December, they got me 2nd round. And then to work my way all the way up into the 1st round throughout the year, it's just like the work shows off. And so it feels good when you finally like take a day to sit down and the work you put in, like, is paying off.
When the light bulb went on, when did you like all of a sudden go, man, you know what? I'm one of the best players in the country.
So when I first got to Bama, I was nervous. I played very scared. I wasn't confident. And then I realized, like, I can compete with them. Like, I can compete with these players. And we weren't a regular team at Bama. We had a lot of talent. And so when I realized I could compete with them, I figured I could compete with anybody in the world. And that's what I did. And here we are.
Now you get to compete with the best players in the world.
With the 22nd pick,
who's your teammate going to be?
The 2023 NBA Draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Dariq Whitehead from Duke University.
Welcome.
Wow.
I was just sitting with him and we had to get our medical together.
Well, good that you guys have a relationship now because you're going to be teammates. And again, I love Dariq Whitehead, great young man, battled injuries, did not get an opportunity to do any workouts, play at the combine, do any of that in this spring due to a foot injury. But glad to see his name called here in the first round. And of course, alongside Noah Clowney. Noah, thank you for being with us, my man. We appreciate your time and welcome to your home here with the Brooklyn Nets.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Big time shot maker, Dariq Whitehead. I mean, he can win it when you're like, here's another guy. How hard, like, PJ, you get a guy that's injured. How hard is it to evaluate him because you never had an opportunity to really see him at where you would think we function at his very best?
Impossible. We saw that happen with Koulibaly. It's happened with a couple players here tonight for various reasons. And some guys just, came from nowhere and just shot up the list. People are making decisions. And then you get, guys helped themselves. There was a couple guys that really helped themselves in the combine. You got other players. Teams it's the same everywhere. It's like back when we were recruiting in college, Seth, all of a sudden you're saying, hey, he's visiting this other place. He must be better than we think. You bring him in, you meet with your scouts again, you go back and watch tapes, and all of a sudden these guys that weren't even on your radar, all of a sudden they become it. And I think we've seen it already. We're going to see it with a couple more players later on.
And one of the things, I want to talk about with that again, in 2019, I mentioned Derek Lively and a couple of the guys coming to our Nike Elite 100 camp. That was the first year that NBA scouts were allowed to be able to watch high school prospects. So you go back and you say that the NBA scouts were watching Derek Lively, watching Dariq Whitehead, Imani Bates, Jalen Duren, all these guys then. So when you see a Dariq Whitehead being drafted without having to go through really the process and the workouts and the interview, well, I'm sure he did the interviews like everyone else, it's because they've been following him for so long. Mm-hmm. And again, you're talking about a young man who was at Montverde for 5 years. He was there as an eighth grader. He was playing against R.J. Barrett when he was an eighth grader. And so Dariq Whitehead has been, he's been raised to do this. And again, to see his name called, and it's a testament to him as a young man, but also the Nets and their scouting from what they've done throughout high school, watching him at the McDonald's All-American game, in the Hoop Summit, everything where NBA scouts can be throughout their high school career and making a decision based upon that.
And again, you get to the point of the draft where you start drafting for potential and what you see in a player versus what you've already seen in that player. All right, we continue with the NBA draft. Is pick number 23. That would be the Portland Trailblazers back on the clock. They are followed by the Sacramento Kings as well. We will continue with your coverage here at the NBA Draft. You are listening, of course, to the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Have you seen the cost of eggs lately? With these prices, we'd barely be scraping by if it weren't for Dave. It's the banking app that advances us up to $500 instantly. There's no interest, late fees, or credit checks. No joke. You can get extra cash for anything your family needs. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
When picking a commerce platform, you have two choices.
Oh, you piece of...
Or...
Yeah!
I prefer... Don't you? That's the sound of selling on Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform that supercharges your selling. Online, in person, on social media, and beyond. Why battle inferior platforms' weak tools?
You...
Lack of brand control.
That looks like...
And limited integrations.
Would have helped to know this.
Stop leaving sales on the table. Join the millions of businesses around the world growing on Shopify and get the industry-leading tools from the best converting checkout to powerful order management features. Gain control with code-free site design and harness Shopify's limitless integrations for limitless growth. Shopify.
Less, more.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/play. That's shopify.com/play. Shopify.com/play.
This weekend on ESPN Radio, interleague rivals go head-to-head in Los Angeles.
Grand slam, Jose Altuve.
Jose Altuve and the Houston Astros begin a 10-game road trip against Freddie Freeman and the Dodgers.
Freeman driven well out of here.
The Astros and Dodgers. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on SiriusXM Channel 80. This is the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Back at the Barclays Center here in Brooklyn, New York. Alan Hahn, PJ Carlesimo, Seth Greenberg, Corey Alexander. We are 23 picks now through the first round of the draft, and the Portland Trailblazers, who were on the clock once again at pick number 23. It's their second pick in the first round. Now, this is a pick they acquired from the New York Knicks in the Josh Hart trade that was made right before the deadline, a trade that really impacted the Knicks and helped them not only make the playoffs, but reach the second round for the first time in 10 years. The pick is in, and the pick that they have made is Chris Murray from Iowa, power forward, that they now add to Scoot Henderson, who was taken number 3 overall. How do we feel about this pick, guys?
Chris Murray doesn't have the handle and the wiggle that maybe his brother has, but he is a very, very good spot-up shooter. He has a good feel. He's a good ball mover and a cutter. He's competitive. He's a good player. He's a good player, and he's a guy, again, a shot maker. Shot makers, you see even Derek Whitehead, 42% three-point shooter. Now we went from getting stoppers to, as you go down the draft, we're seeing a lot of guys that can make shots, and Murray can really do that.
And Chris Murray, again, the twin brother of Kings forward Keegan Murray, who was the fourth pick in last year's draft and had a terrific rookie season.
He had an excellent year and played well in the playoffs.
Yes,
Struggled
he
a little
did.
bit early, and then all of a sudden he got it together. He was impressive. But again, a shooter, coaches will put a shooter out on the floor, and you can make immediate impact if you're a shooter. And Chris Murray can fill it up. There's no question about that. Also, sneaky good rebounder, almost 8 rebounds a game.
Now, you're all about the rebounding guards. You love it.
He went one pick early, though. I mean, think about it. He lasts one more. He goes, they don't take him. He has a chance to go team up with his brother.
Exactly.
I just looked up at the board, and you're right.
Well, and they were supposedly interested in him.
Oh, you have to be.
Yeah.
No better backup you could have for a guy like that. They think alike.
The Kings now are on the clock. Now, Portland, again, this is 2 picks now that they have made in the first round. And we have touched on this just a little bit, but while the Kings are on the clock with just under 2 minutes to go, and boy, what a season that they had, and the job Mike Brown did with them.
Wow.
And, I mean, lighting the beam has become the special thing now there, and it's a pretty cool experience in that new arena that they have. But Portland, they have 2 first-round picks, decidedly staying young. No reports yet about anything else going on. There's been so much speculation about what they will do because Damian Lillard has made it clear he really doesn't want to be part of a rebuild, doesn't want to have more young players around him. He's looking to be part of something that they can contend. But right now, all's quiet on that front as we wait and see. And maybe stuff happens more tomorrow and on forward. But we talked earlier, and a lot of us have the consensus that Portland needs to go this direction and see what they can get from
This
Lillard.
is a backcourt of the future, unless there's some moves involved right there. I mean, you got Scoot, Scoot and Chris Murray.
And we've got to also remember that Anthony Simons.
Yes, very
is
good
elite.
scorer. Okay, Adam Silver at the podium for the
With
Sacramento
the
Kings.
24th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Olivier Maxence Prosper from Montreal, Canada, the NBA Academy Latin America, and Marquette University.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
A versatile defender that has the ability to switch and defend bigger players with also the quickness to guard perimeter players. A high-energy forward that has the NBA frame and upside offensively to contribute right now for a team.
Maxence, Prosper, and PJ from the Academy.
He's an Academy guy. He's from Canada. Again, the amount of Canadians now playing in the league are just incredible. But, I mean, this is a good friend of Ben Mathurin. We saw what Ben did for Indiana this year. These 2 guys were in our LatAm Academy in Mexico together. He's also a BWB. He was at 2 different Basketball Without Borders back in 2020 in Chicago at the All-Star, and then in 2019. This is one of the guys that showed well in the Combine. People kind of liked him. They were intrigued by him a little bit. He's 20 years old, but how about his vertical? 40 points, 40.5. He caught some attention there, really helped himself in the Combine. And again, the guy's been a number of places. Started at Clemson, was at Marquette. He's been in our academy, Canadian guy. So he's been around, and he's earned this.
I don't have anything to say. PJ just ran down everything that I was going to say on Omax. He started at Clemson, transfers to Marquette, plays great, but he truly helped himself at the NBA Combine. And it shows that it's still value in playing at the Combine, that you can go in and improve your draft status because NBA personnel love to see guys that just love to play basketball.
Amen.
And they're willing to compete at any point in time.
And that's who he is. He is fiercely competitive. He is active defensively. He's flying around the court, offensively and defensively, but especially defensively. He's got a motor that impacts the game. I mean, you talk again, older, winning player, toughness, high energy, kind of fits let's face it, what if he stays in Sacramento kind of fits what they're trying to do in terms of developing, a culture and an identity of toughness and active, hard playing dudes.
What Corey talked about it earlier, the different paths that you can get. This is now the fourth Academy player drafted. Josh Giddey's done very well at OKC. Ben Matherin lit it up this year. Dyson Daniels was okay. I still think we're going to see more from him in the future. And now this is the fourth Academy player to be drafted. Omax, the Academy program is working.
And Omax is a triple-double threat. He's one of those guys that could be a guy that go out and get you a triple-double, but he could also go out and guard the other team's best player. So when you look at that, adding it to what Sacramento needed, because as great as they were offensively, it was a struggle defensively, and they need a guy like Omax to be able to come in and take on that challenge of guarding the other team's best player, but still can be, can help you on the offensive end of the floor and not be a liability.
Yeah, next week he'll turn 21 on July 3rd. So, again, one of the older players, like you said, but has been through the journey, and everyone's different. This one, when we get to talk to him, it's been quite a journey for him.
We're knocking on the door of Canada's got the same problem we've had in terms of getting all their players together now to play for the national team. They're going to be an impact team going forward. There are so many good Canadians playing in the league and playing successfully. When it becomes attractive to them and they want to play in the summer, they're going to do some damage going forward.
Will Nick continue to coach that team?
I think yes. I don't know. He's always loved it. And we're talking about Nick Nurse, of course, the former Toronto Raptors coach and current Philadelphia 76ers coach.
Let's just think about a backcourt that includes Jamal Murray and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, that in itself is special enough, but then you can think about the fact that you've got a guy by the name of Andrew Wiggins who could be your small forward. I mean, you've got a lineup, of course, a tremendous lineup of Canadian basketball players that could go out and help you, by the way. RJ Barrett as well.
Appreciate you mentioning that. Woj is saying, though, that
Omax goes somewhere else.
Will be headed to Dallas as Rashawn Holmes and that pick at 24 will be headed to Dallas. So
Even
Kings
more
are trading
valuable.
I was going to say,
Dallas.
he just became a lot more valuable.
That fit.
Even more valuable with Dallas.
A very interesting fit, and we'll get him to sit down here right now. He's got the Kings hat on. I wonder if we'll be breaking the news to him that he will instead be heading to Dallas.
Hey, they got to replace Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring up that.
Yeah, they missed him.
Alan,
him
just so
terribly.
you know, the guy that recruited him brought him to Virginia Tech is right here. That was the first college coach for Dorian Finney-Smith, by the way.
He's feeling the emotions right now. Olivier Maxence Proper joining us right now, and I can see the emotions in you. And just if you can describe how it feels right now to be in the NBA.
It feels awesome. This is a dream come true. It's something that, you dream of as a kid, and, for it to be a reality now, I mean, it doesn't feel real, to be honest. But, man, it's a blessing. It's truly a blessing to be here today.
Omax, you're the fourth Academy grad to be drafted. You and your buddy Ben, we had together down in Mexico at the LATAM Academy, and your journey from Corey was talking about it when you were up on stage with the commissioner, from starting at Clemson and Marquette and the time at the Academy and representing Canada comes to fruition tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Omax,
Thank you so much.
we can see you're emotional. Your hard work is paid off, young man. And again, you have every right to be emotional, but I want you to understand how proud that not only PJ, but Seth and I are from covering you in college, and not just what you did at the Academy, but going through your route at Clemson and then going to Marquette and playing as well as you did. But the most impressive thing that you've done throughout this entire journey, in my opinion, is what you did at the NBA Combine last month. What was it in your decision to make you say, I want to go out and play not just one game, but both games on both days and show everyone what I can do?
I mean, my mindset going to the Combine was, coming in, nobody's, thought I was that high or whatever, but I was like, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be the hardest guy, the hardest worker out there. I was going to be the guy that's going to come in and be the greatest teammate, the loudest guy on the court, and is going to do all the little details and the hustle plays and the things I can control to help my team win in the combine. And I'm gonna go out there, be me, focus on things I can control, let everything else be, and that's how I was able to play well in the game and have a really good combine. So that was my mindset.
That sounds like a Shaka Smart pregame talk.
I mean, I've heard a lot of those.
Well versed. Now you know how the NBA draft works, and we've had this happen throughout the night. Is you have a hat on, but you never know what hat can turn into. Have you been aware of rumors that you might actually be headed to Dallas?
Yes.
Okay, so you're aware of that.
Yeah, I'm aware. I am aware of that. Super
Exciting
excited.
fit there.
Yeah, super excited to get to Dallas and play for the Mavericks. I mean, great organization. Really good history. With great players. And just to be part of that organization and come in, play alongside guys like Luka Doncic, and all the great players they have, and it's super exciting. They're gonna get a guy that's gonna come in and is gonna work his butt off each and every day to get better and help the team win, and that's a team first guy, and that wants to come in and bring a spark to the team, and that's what I will bring on both ends of the floor. So it's super exciting, and I can't wait to get to work.
Mavericks need to improve their defense. Derek Langley and yourself.
Yes.
Two guys that are committed on that end with high energy and great passion, great teammates, embrace what they do well. It's a good draft for Dallas so far. I do admit the hat goes with the suit, but
yes,
you match. Keep it for the night. You can get a Dallas one some other time.
Absolutely.
The Tomorrow when you fly in there.
Right, exactly. The raw emotion, though, is wonderful. It just shows you how important this journey has been and what the night means to you. And thank you so much for sharing that time with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Well done.
There you go,
And the man they call Omax and the journey that he has been through from Canada through the NBA Academy, through college at Marquette, now here in Brooklyn, and to Sacramento for a minute, and now headed to Dallas.
Quick pit stop.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you guys what just happened, though. While we were talking with Omax, Jarris Walker was right in front of us talking to the fans, throwing autographs back up to the fans that they're sending stuff down. Well, during that stretch, the Memphis Grizzlies select Marcus Sasser with the 25th pick, Jarris Walker's teammate. He heard the announcement. He turned, looked to see the screen, and he sprinted over to his coaches and all his people on the side that are with him to hug them. Marcus Sasser, I don't believe, is here. However, Jarris Walker is back now with the fans. Just sprinted over to hug all of his coaches and everyone over the side, still dapping everybody up as we see Kelvin Sampson standing over on our side and having a great moment.
Observation. Let me just explain, though, before we continue with the analysis, because stay with me now. This is the Grizzlies pick, but actually it's supposed to be the Celtics pick as part of that Porzingis deal.
Exactly.
But now Woj is telling us this is now going to the Pistons. The Detroit Pistons now will have this pick, and the Celtics will get pick number 31, first pick of the second round, as a result. So Sasser ends up in Detroit, if we can follow that whole thing. So originally Memphis to the Celtics, now to Detroit. Regardless, it's a wonderful moment, of course.
And whoever gets Marcus Sasser is getting a very good basketball player. This is a young man who gets the job done on both ends of the floor. And once again, when you play for Kelvin Sampson, there's a difference in you defensively.
Oh, yeah.
You play a different way. They practice a different way. You get an opportunity to see them practice. It's one of the most gratifying things you'll see as a basketball person, to see the way that he still coaches them, the way that PJ coached when he was at Seton Hall back in the day. When you got energy, you got a lot of energy in those practices.
And I coached the Sasser, too. When your last name is Sasser, you get after it. Because there's a tradition in that family.
I'll tell you what, I was surprised when people were talking about him being a second-round draft choice, because he reminds me a little bit of Davion Mitchell, a little bit. I mean, he can really guard the ball, not maybe have it on a string as much. Shot it really well this past year. Another guy coming off a bunch of injuries, but we say the guy's got a little dog in him. I mean, dog in a positive way.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't take plays off when you play at Houston.
DAWG.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you don't take plays off when you play at Houston. There's accountability every single day, and I think again, this is a winning piece in Detroit in terms of culture, toughness, competitiveness to get that team that hasn't been competitive to put in the locker room guys that only know winning.
Well, if that's where he ends up, Troy Weaves made some good moves in the 2 years there.
And he's also, by the way, he'll be 23 when the season begins.
All good.
Well, I can tell you this. We'll talk about when we get back.
With the 26th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Ben Shepherd from Belmont University.
Ben Shepherd, another young man that helped himself significantly at the combine.
That's a great call.
He was great at the combine and showed that he could play with the basketball in his hands, be a facilitator as well as a scorer. And I love the fact that we're seeing the combine matter to many of the NBA executives for those guys who decide that they're going to play in comparison to guys who are sitting out, not going out there and playing at the combine.
He played some point guard.
Perfectly said.
I agree with it.
He can play though, right?
Oh, he can play. He can really shoot it, and he played some point guard this past year for Belmont. He's got legitimate size. He's a good passer, a very good defender, and a big time jump shooter.
And this is, again, the second pick for the Pacers in the first round. This is a pick that they got from the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Karis LeVert trade that they made 2 years ago. And we're down to 4 picks left in the first round. And PJ, do we have anybody left in the green room?
We've got 2 left in the green room. The original 24. We have the Frenchman Ryan Rupert, who played in New Zealand this year, and surprisingly, the one that has fallen, Nick Smith Jr. From Arkansas. That he's still there, and we're at pick 27.
The Charlotte Hornets on the clock. This will be their second pick and their first pick since taking Brandon Miller, number 2 overall.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because Nick Smith Jr. and Brandon Miller were AAU teammates. They played together for Brad Beal Elite. These 2 guys could be teaming up again after playing against each other last season.
The NBA Draft on ESPN Radio brought to you by AutoZone. Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
We should tell our listeners that the way you get invited to the green room is they poll all the teams. And, they say, are you considering these guys in your top 25? So it's not just random or it's not somebody making picks. So some teams have spoken up on behalf of Ryan Rupert, the Frenchman we talked about, and, of course, about Nick Smith. A lot of teams have spoken up about Nick Smith. Clearly, he's the one who's surprisingly fallen the most.
And PJ, Seth, you guys have done this more than I have. So I would have to say that 24, 25 guys has to be the most guys ever invited to the green room.
Yes, it is. I'm used to being like in the high teens or sometimes maybe gets to 20.
Right?
Well, it was 20 or 21 the other day. And all of a sudden there were 4 names added at the very end.
PJ, do you think you talk about Nick Smith?
The 27th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Nick Smith Jr.
Boom.
From the University of Arkansas.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
A shifty combo guard with a high motor, Smith Jr. is a high-level shot creator, especially off the dribble. He showed terrific touch on floaters, runners, and pull-ups, an active defender with quick hands.
So you guys love this, right? So who said steal of the draft? Which one of you?
That would
Corey
be me.
Alexander.
I've been saying that the entire time. This young man was in Jonathan Givony's mock draft in October. He was the 3rd or 4th. He was right behind Scoot Henderson. He was that high. And, of course, injured early and then came back to play. When many people told him not to come back and play, he actually came back and played, showed his competitive spirit, averaged about 12 points per game for Arkansas this year, stayed home and played at Arkansas. I'm shocked to see him fall this far, but he's in a great situation because you put him in Charlotte that needs backcourt help. Of course, we talked about LaMelo Ball, but they don't have really other guards. Kelly Oubre has had a decent time in Charlotte, but they need
Dennis
other
Smith
playmakers.
Jr., right? They like him.
Now, Dennis Smith Jr. had a resurgence this year.
Yeah.
He came back in a big-time way, and you're talking about a guy that was a lottery pick in the same draft as, of course, Lonzo Ball and De'Aaron Fox and Markelle Fultz. So he had a big-time comeback year, but they need a guy like Nick Smith Jr., legit size, that can play in the backcourt position.
And this is their second first-round pick. They were drafted at 2, obviously, and now 27. You got 5 picks. They're not going to take 5 players to put on the roster right now. So whether they make some trades, whether guys end up being a two-way or stash somebody in Europe or somewhere else, but that's pick number 2 of 5 potential picks by the Charlotte.
This guy's a big-time shot maker if he's healthy. Now, like he came back, and the weird thing was he went away to California to rehab and train before he came back and played. I don't know if that's the reason why he dropped. But you watch him shoot the ball, that thing comes off his hand like Corey Alexander.
Hey,
I mean, that thing comes off his hand.
Strong statement.
I'm serious.
Strong statement.
That thing comes off his hand, you think it's going in. And he's got a middle game, and he's got a floater. Fairly creative in ball screen situations. I mean, like, you play with LaMelo Ball and you get an advance pass, this guy can boom, turn it, drag him, get in the middle, float it. I mean, he's that good. It'll be interesting to see how he deals with being 27. Is it like motivation, but you're excited to be in the NBA, or is it disappointment?
This is the last time that number means anything. It doesn't matter now. You're on the team, and let's lace it up. Let's go. Let's be realistic. When the year started, he was projected real high. The injuries killed him. It just took him, completely out of the mix. So, Corey calling this a steal is a great call.
And sometimes a steal could just be an asset that you turn into something if it doesn't fit for you. But you make a pick sometimes at this point of the draft because it's the best player available, and you pick them up. Now, we got 3 picks left in this draft in the first round, and the Utah Jazz are up next with just over 2 minutes to go here. And this is their 3rd pick
already
in the first round. And they have been stacking young talent so far. Now, this is a pick, if you guys remember, let me take you back. If you remember that meme of Brian Windhorst, why would they do that? That became a famous meme for sports and for ESPN. And that is, of course, the Royce O'Neal trade that the Jazz made that then led to the Utah Jazz looking completely different after Rudy Gobert and then Donovan Mitchell were traded. I mean, this is originally a Sixers pick that went to Brooklyn in the James Harden trade, so this pick has moved around as well. But Utah they have 3 picks. And then you see what they do going from here. But the Jazz, for the last 2 years, have been extremely busy. And we'll see what the pick is here with Adam Silver at the podium.
With the 28th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Bryce Sensabaugh from The Ohio State University.
Bobby Marks, player profile.
A high-level shooter from deep and the mid-range area, Sensabaugh has elite mechanics, quick release, and polished footwork. He uses his strength to create space for a shot, creates off the dribble, and can finish through contact.
The commissioner, The Ohio State. He's been listening to the NFL draft. But I thought it was only Duke that he embellished a little bit. Now we're joining the Ohio State University.
As we continue on the draft, let's pause right now, 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We're back here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York for the NBA Draft. We are 28 picks in. At pick number 27, the Charlotte Hornets with their 2nd pick in the first round. They took Nick Smith Jr. from Arkansas, and he joins us right now. And Nick, you were sitting in the green room following through this whole thing. And when you heard your name called, what was the first emotion that came to you?
I don't know, man. Everything just came out at once. All the hard work for 19 years, I've been dreaming for this moment, all my life. And my family been dreaming for this moment. And, right now I'm just, ready to put in the work. I got that out the way. I got my emotions out the way. Now it's time to go to work now.
Nick, of course,
we go way back.
Yeah,
And
my God.
watching you with BBE, Brad Billy Lee, you and Brandon in the backcourt together. Now you're going to do it again in Charlotte.
Yep.
I will say this. I know you were supposed to be a higher draft pick. We all know that. But I think that you are the steal of this draft because of where Charlotte got you. What is Charlotte getting that people don't know yet?
A dog.
Like it.
That's a fact. You know, you got, Michael Jordan's there. I feel like that competitive drive, that hunger, that's definitely something that I definitely have in me right now for sure. You know, I've been had that since I was a kid, but it's a little different now. Just to seeing on the other side, just going through the NBA team process and just going through the draft process itself, and just seeing that, that's all I needed.
Nick, how tough was it to go through this year with the injuries stopping you from doing what you could have done to help your team even more, and seeing them still have success, and you want to, I'm sure, be a bigger part.
Yeah. It was tough, but you got to understand, it's a game of basketball. Injuries are part of the game. I don't really know what to say about that. I feel like, before the off season, I had one of my best off seasons I had in a long time. Just putting in the work, just listening to what Coach Mudd says, practicing hard. I feel like I earned my stripes in practice. Then I got hurt. So I mean, it is what it is, man. I just try to go in and work every day, just give it my all. And, I feel good now, so I really ain't got no excuses coming into training camp or coming into Monday. So it's gonna be full go now.
Man, you're in the NBA. You're a first-round draft choice. Did you go in and work out with Charlotte? Did you meet with Charlotte?
No, I ain't. I met with Charlotte, but I ain't gonna work out with her.
Was this a surprise for you when you heard your name? Did you know in advance?
Yeah. I kind of knew in advance. Just talking to my agent Rich and Luke. They just told me that if I'm there, I get picked, and that's what happened.
Well, Nick, let me tell you this. The easy part is getting to the NBA. The toughest part is staying in the NBA. You have what it takes to stay in the NBA. We're looking forward to watching your development. And I've said there's a sleeper of this draft. I've said it on TV. I've said it on radio. I've said it a lot. Make me look good. That's what you do.
No, I got you, man.
It's all
know
about
me.
Corey. You know that.
Yeah, you know me for sure.
But, hey, let me tell you this. He got a lot of Corey Alexander in him, by the way.
What did I say?
My guy is a very confident young man. He's gonna make me look good on this one.
I said your jumper's as pure as Corey Alexander's.
That was said here.
My God, that's my God.
Enjoy the night. Congratulations. All the best to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Well done.
We go to the podium.
Pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Julian Strawther from Gonzaga University.
All right, with the draft continues, pick number 29, as we have now one last pick to go in the first round. This is the Indiana Pacers pick, Julian Strawther. And then we didn't mention it before, but it was Bryce Sensabaugh that went Ohio State to the Utah Jazz. Guys, what do you feel about this pick? Now, this is a pick that will go to the Denver Nuggets eventually. This is a trade that the Nuggets pulled off. I believe it was during the finals.
It was right after the finals, right after they won. They made the deal with the Pacers to be able to get that pick to bring in that first round. And, of course, the Pacers came into the draft with so many picks, but getting Bryce Sensabaugh is a great pick. He's a underrated athlete. His skill level is high, but athletically, I don't think people realize how athletic he is. A Florida guy who decided to go to the Ohio State University, and now all of a sudden is found his way to the NBA.
He's got to get in world-class shape. He gets in world-class shape. This dude can score. He can score, all three levels. He can score at all three levels. He can back you down. He has a middle game. He shoots the three. He's got that big physical body. He's got to guard someone. You want to get on the court in Denver, you're gonna he's gonna have to understand that he's got to play both sides of the floor. But he is a talented offensive player.
About 6'11" wingspan.
The 6'11" wingspan, 40% from the three.
And the guys that normally have that long wingspan usually use it for good on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah.
That's how you have to be able to do
ground,
it.
Man.
Who in our group here? I know it wasn't me, and I'm thinking it wasn't the guy sitting to my left or right. Said it's easy to get to the league. It's harder to stay there. How about that easy to get to the league part?
It's the most exclusive club in the world. You go,
What are you
you tell
talking about?
everyone it's the most
Easy to
exclusive
get to
club
the
in the
league.
world.
What
but
are you?
say it's
I'm
easy.
so glad you said that from somebody who
I
played
was
Division
thinking
II
of it.
basketball.
Yeah, come
It is
on.
not easy, Corey.
Maybe I should say for the guys who are now in the league, it was much easier to get to this point than it will be to stay in there. And that's what we talked about where guys outperform their draft status. You see so many guys drafted in front of you. I was a 29th pick in the first round. I saw so many guys drafted in front of me that didn't last nearly as long as I did. And I saw guys drafted behind me that lasted longer. So, again, that's the way it works in this NBA. It's not about, that slot, as PJ said, that number only matters tonight. Because as of tomorrow, you're back on the same playing field. And, again, nobody cares. It's only a motivation for the guys who got drafted further down than you did. That makes you even more of a target.
Those guys just make a couple of bucks more than you do.
Yeah, or
I mean, your rookie deal.
Yeah,
And then
exactly,
there's
but
that number matters.
And then there's that.
Then there's that, right? But when you talked about Strother and Seth, you said this about conditioning, getting elite shape. I mean, that's kind of what Corey's talking about.
And I messed up because Strother's going to Denver, right?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
Strother is different. He is in shape, and he can
Oh,
shoot
okay.
the ball, and he's got, I was talking about Sensible.
Oh, Sensible, right, okay.
But Strother, a little bit of a low release. PJ, you probably seen him more
I
than
saw him a
anyone
ton,
else.
but
Yeah,
I tell you what, he went higher. He went sooner than people were projecting.
100%.
Yeah.
The second round projection.
Yeah.
Okay, again, this pick
Size,
will go to the
though.
Denver Nuggets as they made a trade with the Pacers. Now this, and I love playing this game of, where did this pick originate? It was originally a Celtics pick. They sent it to the Pacers in the Malcolm Brogdon trade, and that ended up being a really good trade for the Celtics. Brogdon became Sixth Man of the Year, and the Celtics have been a very busy team of late as they have made all kinds of moves, and a big move that they made was acquiring Kristaps Porzingis. We haven't had a chance to talk about it as the Clippers are on the clock for the last pick in the first round at number 30, but just the Porzingis fit and what the Celtics weren't, I will say, because I would argue they underachieved by losing in the conference finals. But what does Porzingis bring to Boston?
Well, he's a stat filler for starters. It's a question of whether he can do it consistently. First of all, is he going to be healthy? I heard Legs talking about him today on our air, and he was bragging that he played 65 games. I'm going, what are we talking about here? He's been hurt most of his career. His stats are ridiculous. He's just under 20 points a game, just under 8 rebounds a game. He blocks a couple shots a game. He makes 80% of his free throws. He can stretch the floor, but he's got to do it. He's got to become a rim protector for them, join that triumvirate now, that front line for Boston. I'm not still my favorite interview here when he got booed when he was drafted here, and he handled it so well. He was great. He said, "I'm going to win the fans over."
Turn those boos into
the
cheers.
Best interview with post draft we ever had was Kristaps Porzingis. But he's got some proving to do, and I say that respectfully. It may turn out to be what Legs called today a steal, like a monumentally great deal for Boston, but they're trying to replace the guy that we all said it. I know it's a cliche. Nobody could think of anything better to say. The heart and soul of that team is gone. And you talk about a dog, Marcus Smart. They are going to miss Marcus Smart, and he's going to fit like a glove in Memphis. I mean, what are you going to do? We lose John Morant for 25 games.
It's such a
Who
great
can we
fit.
get? Are you kidding me?
What about his
How about a guy that's been to the finals? A guy who will be a great mentor.
All right, we have Adam Silver for the last pick of the first round.
2023 NBA Draft. The LA Clippers select Kobe Brown from the University of Missouri.
All right, so Kobe Brown for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Whoa.
And to all the fans, especially those here at the Barclays Center, the second round of the NBA Draft will be conducted by Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum.
Say goodnight to the commissioner.
Rest of the night.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, let me just go finish up with
Sure.
Marcus. John, Marcus to me is going to have so much more credibility, and I don't want to put this on him. He's going down there to play basketball. But, I mean, Marcus Smart has not been a choir boy. So when he can look John Morant in the eye and go, hey, man, You have to be. There's no question about his ability as a player. He's a great player right now, John Morant.
And you know he will.
But he needs to be a professional. And Marcus Smart can tell him, look, I made some mistakes too, but this is what you have to do to be successful. And he can also look his teammates in the eye and go, hey, I've been deep in the playoffs every year. I was in the finals 2 years ago. For Memphis to take that next step, in addition to getting Steven Adams and Brandon Clark healthy, I mean, Marcus Smart is a tremendous addition for that team.
Home run, absolute home run. Coaches the locker room, great for John Morant, brings the toughness, changes their culture, has greater accountability across the board for that whole team. Porzingis' year last year, he had monster numbers.
Oh,
monster!
His stats are incredible.
They were monster numbers. Now he's never won. I mean, Aaron Gordon never won, and he won.
And
he
look
just
what he
won a
did.
championship.
Exactly.
So I mean, you can't just pigeonhole him there. But I could see Porzingis in dribble handoffs and ball screens with Brown and Tatum, and again, all three of them making each other better. I mean.
Well, guess what? He's not going to be on top of the board by the defense. How are we going to stop Porzingis? They're going to be worried about Jason and Jalen.
Exactly.
He's going to make some open shots. He and Al Horford are going to be raining threes down all over the place. But he's got to protect the rim. He's got to get in there with Robert Williams, and he's got to protect that rim and block shots and be a force on the defensive end. And then they will be a major problem to deal with.
I'm going to be the guy that says it was a home run for Memphis. And for Boston, in my opinion, it was a 2 strikes on you, and you watch a pitch go right down the middle, strike.
Woo!
I do not like it for Boston. And the reason I don't like it for Boston is Boston was in the NBA Finals a season ago because of their defense. It had nothing to do with their offense. And you give away your anchor defensively, the defensive player of the year. There were times, and I was fortunate to do a number of games in that series with Philadelphia, Game 6 and Game 7. Marcus Smart would go guard Joel Embiid. He would guard everyone on the floor, and he would compete. He would battle. But he also was the guy that would go to the media and say, Jalen and Jason need to pass the basketball. They need to figure this out. Every great team needs a guy that's going to shake things up. When guys start to get too comfortable, get complacent, Marcus Smart was that guy. You can't replace what he did in that locker room. You can't replace what he did on the court. They wanted to move Malcolm Brogdon. They couldn't because of health issues.
Yep.
And now you end up moving Marcus Smart. So does that put Brogdon as your point guard? Do you play Derek White as your point guard?
Sounds like Derek White.
D. White.
Yeah.
I think they're banking on D. White giving him some of that.
And I love Derek White, but he's not that type of leader.
Time will tell how much they miss Marcus Smart, and you probably won't see it in numbers, but it might be felt in other ways. But what he brings to Memphis, now you have 2 defensive player of the years on the same roster with Jaren Jackson Jr. as well. Memphis had to get mature. They had to grow up. They had to get their locker room under control. Maybe that move does it. All right, so we have finished the first round of the NBA draft. We move on to the second round. And so it is now let's see. The Pistons had the 31st pick, but it is now going to the Celtics. The Celtics are now going to be on the clock as the second round begins. Stay with us. This is the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member